This afternoon from Music City, USA, it's the SEC on ESPN and the third game of a huge series between Texas and Vanderbilt. Fourth-ranked team in the nation looking to continue its run with a series win here today. But Tim Corbin and the Vanderbilt Commodores, a two-time national champ, playing with a sense of urgency below the cut line for the NCAA tournament. And Jim Schlossnagle's Longhorns are trying to continue their run through the SEC after winning it last year. Welcome, everybody. Tom Hart alongside Kyle Peterson. Vanderbilt comes into this weekend in awkward territory. They need to continue to win, and they got a huge win last night in a shutout to try to get their RPI good enough to be an at-large candidate.
History says if your RPI in the SEC is not below 50, you're not getting in as an at-large. Well, there's some work to do. Now, it went down yesterday at 69, and there are other factors that go into it, but that one matters. That's why today was so important. Next week they go on the road to get Missouri and South Carolina to finish, but a series win against one of the top 5 teams in the country looked pretty good.
Well, and Texas has made it into the top 5 and sat there all season by way of a dominant pitching staff. They've been that way from the jump, and it's not just the starters, it's the bullpen as well.
No, it's complete. It's as complete as you'll find in the entire country. You can see them, and the numbers mirror each other. Not just the ERA, but the whip. And I think one thing to watch today with Texas is their best bullpen arms are ready to go. We will see Sam Cozart at some point.
And here's a look at the batting order put together by Jim Schlossnagle, a batting order that was shut out for the first time all season yesterday. Aiden Robbins homered twice in the opener. He was 0 for 4 in the leadoff spot, and the bottom half of the lineup has really struggled over the last 3 weekends for the Longhorns. And today they get right-hander Wyatt Neto. Comes in 1-2 with a 5.40 ERA. And a big righty from Gorham, Maine, making his 8th start of the season.
It's real stuff, and it's 2 pitches. It's a mid-90s fastball, a slider that gets a ton of swing and miss. The biggest thing for Neto is, can he throw enough strikes? His last 3 starts, it's 18 walks combined. His last start, inning and 2/3, walked 5.
And that included the first 2 batters he faced. And the first pitch at 94 misses to Robbins. So a series on the line in this one, and Robbins, one of the best first-year players in the SEC, transferred in from Seton Hall, and he is top 10 in the conference in batting average, top 5 in home runs, top 10 in RBI, and his OPS 5th best. Now 2-1. 6 home runs in the last 10 games for Robbins, giving him 17 on the season, which is tied for 4th in the Southeastern Conference, and he looks at 95 for a strike 2-2. They moved him to the leadoff spot a few weeks ago. He had been in the 3-hole. They've got power and high average at the top of the lineup. There's a guy last 2 years at Seton Hall. Was a really good hitter, 5th in the nation in on-base percentage last year, 6th in average in the nation, but only 6 home runs. Power's taken a massive jump,
especially to the pull side. That's been the biggest thing for Robbins, and that home run number going up to 17 this year, 10 of those in the SEC.
And he fouls this one off. You get opposing coaches to say great things about you, you're doing some damage. Michael Early, the head coach at Texas A&M, had a very simple quote. He said, Aiden Robbins is one of the best hitters I've ever seen. 2-2 from Neto.
Wow. All fastballs so far. That last at 96, and the last 3 in on the hands of Robbins. He's more than a tick late on the fastball right now, and if he doesn't hit this one, it may hit his back shoulder.
Eighth pitch of the plate appearance, and the 2-2. Just staying alive.
You know, guys go to warm up, and you flick your glove forward so the catcher knows that you're throwing a fastball. He can pretty much just do that in this at bat. Like, here, you know what's coming. It's going to be inside. Now let's see who wins the battle.
And he goes with the off-speed pitch and got him to pop it up. handled by Braden Holcomb and right. Take a look at Neto's game.
Yeah, it's 2 pitches, and so often guys that are 2 pitches, they're in the bullpen. Well, not Neto. They've had some injuries. They pushed him into the starting role. Had a brilliant start his first time out against LSU. Those are the 2, though. It is fastball, slider. They look the same here, but the difference is when they get to home plate, the action totally different. That fastball, he'll ride it up sometimes. The slider has great down to it.
And now Texas catcher Carson Tinney in his chance against Neto. Tinney's having a good weekend at the plate as he spits on the slider. 2-0. Had a couple of hits and was hit by a pitch last night. The junior from Castle Pines, Colorado, transferred in from Notre Dame, where he was a finalist for the Buster Posey Award as the best catcher in college baseball last year. First team All-America by a couple publications.
Well, by design, this is a very patient Texas offense, and they will be even more patient today and try to force Neto into the zone.
And he takes the fastball to take it to 3-1. Tinney had a great weekend last weekend against Alabama, hit 400. Sharply on the ground to Riker Waite, the Vandy shortstop. 2 down. Texas doesn't have an offense that scares many, not like Georgia leading the nation in home runs, or Vandy, 3rd in the country in home runs. But as you mentioned, very patient and productive. Anthony Pack Jr., a freshman, has an OPS over 1,000, and he swings at the first and sends it to center. It'll be a 1-2-3 opening frame worked by Wyatt Neto. Go to the bottom of the first. Vandy coming up. First series between Texas and Vanderbilt in Nashville since 1907. And it's been a doozy, a shutout for Vanderbilt's pitching staff last night to even the series. Here's a look at the batting order for Tim Corbin. This is a team that's hit 90 home runs on the season. They have found their power, and Mike Mancini not only has a homer, a double, and 4 runs, but he was 2 for 2 on the bases last night. And his Texas pitching staff, one of the best in the country, 5th in the nation in ERA, 3rd in the country in WHIP, features Luke Harrison, 6'2" lefty from Friendswood, Texas, making his 11th start. He's 4-2. The last 2 seasons, Texas has won 20 of his 25 starts.
Yeah, it makes his 28th career start today. And for Luke Harrison, it's a high trust factor lefty. This is just a guy that, for whatever reason, when he's out there, Texas wins a baseball game. It's a rotation that has been very consistent this year. Harrison's a low 90 fastball, cutter, 2 different breaking balls, and occasionally a changeup, but primarily stays with elevated velocity.
He had a great start against Alabama last time out. 10 Ks to 3 walks over 7 innings. It was a bounce back after a struggle against A&M the weekend prior. Mancini leads off, takes the first pitch upstairs. Senior from Enwell, New York. Mancini had a couple of hits and a couple of runs scored in last night's Vanderbilt win. 6-0 final to even the series. And we talked to him post-game. He was really proud of the way this Vandy team has put everything on the line.
They have done that.
Outfield straightaway, not much wind today. This ballpark can play small, especially with the right field fence having moved in about 10 feet due to the construction behind that wall. They're putting in a new facility and pavilion on top of it. But as of now, on a warm Sunday afternoon, the wind is blowing in. William Van Raphorst has a strike, 3-1 to Mancini.
Mancini, one of the vets on this team, former Little League World Series champ at Maine Endwell Little League. Seen a big power jump this year too.
Tied for the lead in SEC games and home runs coming into the weekend. They'll put the shift on him now with Becerra flipping over to the right side. Texas infield defense got a big boost when Adrian Rodriguez returned at shortstop last weekend after a hand injury. Got a piece of it. Now this is the strength of the team. 6th in the country in ERA, 3rd in WHIP. Only allowed 23 home runs.
And the starting rotation, who has taken the ball every weekend this entire year, has only given up 6 combined home runs.
They've got some power arms both in the rotation and the bullpen. And Mancini goes down looking. Last week against Alabama, 49 strikeouts for this Texas pitching staff, the most in a 3-game series in 18 seasons.
And Luke Harrison getting it started right there. It was fastball heavy that at bat. With 3-ball to Mancini, then came back and froze him with 91 to start this one off.
Mancini sharing the scouting report on his way back to the dugout with both Brody Johnson, who's up now, and Braden Holcomb, who's on deck. Johnson, sophomore from Ottawa, Tennessee. I think that's most distinctly the T has ever been pronounced in Ottawa in the history of that town. The faster you say it, the more right you are. You ever been there?
No, and I'm not convinced that you're saying it right either, but we'll roll with it today.
Close. If they had a zoo, you'd go. 0-2 to Brody Johnston, who is just 1 for 10 this weekend.
A quick pitch there.
Too quick for his catcher.
Yeah. Too quick for his arm, too.
Denny, one of the best defensive catchers in college baseball. Johnson's got 13 home runs, 5 of them in league play. And Harrison misses upstairs, 2-2. Brody's lone hit yesterday was a 1st inning triple. First 3 batters had extra base hits, double, triple home run for Vandy, and that 3-0 lead would hold throughout the entire game thanks to the shutout. And he lifts this one to right field. Duplantier, bad footwork. It's turned around. It's off the wall, and Johnson's going to head to second and stop there. First start of the series for right fielder Jaden Duplantier. And that looked like somebody stumbling out of Tootsie's in the early morning hours.
Yeah, we spun one way, then we spun the other. Texas made a defensive change in the outfield. Anthony Peck Jr. went from right to left. He misplayed a ball yesterday that could have ended the inning. This is going to be a tough play, even if you read it right. It goes midway off the wall, but the minute those feet get spun, Duplantier kind of gets spun himself off the edge of his glove, and it'll go for a 1-out double for Brody Johnston.
Here's Braden Holcomb. A couple of weeks ago, Duplantier had a misplay in right field in the early innings against Texas A&M, which turned out to be an A&M 2-game sweep. Weather shortened. Holcomb's having a good weekend. The junior has an OPS of 1071 and 3 for 6 with a home run and 3 walks against Texas pitching so far, but down in the count 0-2. Goes down on 92. It's a few weekends left in the SEC regular season. Georgia leading the way 14-6 after a long day at the ballpark and a split with Ole Miss on the road yesterday. A&M even in the loss column, half game behind, and Texas right there. That is a 4-game difference from 1st through 10th.
It was this Texas team last year that went 22-8 in the league and ran away with the regular season title. It is not going to happen this year. It's going to be bunched until the last game.
Barzy to third. Becerra. And that'll close the opening frame for Vandy. Can't do anything with the Brody Johnson double. Inning in the books here in Music City. No score between Texas and Vanderbilt.
The real fun just getting started.
Run straight for the breakaway.
The celebration is on.
Let's take a spin coast to coast college baseball. The #1 team in the country is UCLA, 21-0 in conference play. Big Ten hasn't had an undefeated champion since Ohio State in 1966. They went 6-0 that year. Georgia Tech came back to knock off Wake Forest after being down double digits, and LSU's slide continues.
Yeah, I mean, you got LSU, the defending national champs. It would be out of the tournament right now. Vandy was the 1 seed going into the postseason last year, and they've got work to do just to get back in it. But that Georgia Tech offense, man, down 10-0 yesterday, came back and put 14 on Wake to win the series.
There's the shortstop, Adrian Rodriguez. And swings at the first. Mike Mancini, 1 down. Let's get to know the Bruins just a little bit.
#1 from the get, and they have done nothing that would make you think otherwise. They return a ton from last year, a group that played a bunch as a freshman. When they were freshmen, they won 19 games. Well, it's a little bit different now. Will Gasparino, the former Texas Longhorn, has had a great offensive year. Logan Redemond's worked his way into potentially a first-round pick, and Rock Chalowski is the suspected #1 overall pick in the draft. Pretty solid top to bottom.
Ethan Mendoza at the plate. He gets hit by a pitch. Well, as far as UCLA is concerned and chasing history in the Big Ten, we haven't seen that kind of Big Ten dominance since Illinois in 2015 had a 50-win season and lost only 1 game in league play. That Illinois team ended up losing the Super Regional, getting swept here at Vandy. They've been #1 in the RPI since April 4th, 12-1 against top 50 opponents.
Yeah, I would think there was a little discussion in the Texas dugout after Neto goes 3-ball count to the first 2 hitters of the game, and then the next 2 guys swing at the first pitch and put it in play. That is not the offensive approach that they're looking for.
Ashton Larson with 1 on and 1 out. Well, under Jim Schlossnagle, no matter where he's been, they've been a very patient offense. And Texas this season 2nd in the country in pitches seen per plate appearance behind Oklahoma State.
Is an offensive philosophy that he has had at TCU, took to A&M, and now it has become a mainstay at Texas.
Larson, the LSU transfer, didn't offer. By the way, final note on that last Big Ten undefeated team, and Ohio State did it in 1966. They only played 6 conference games. Everybody else was playing 13 or 12, but Ohio State went on to win the national title that year. So UCLA looking to repeat history. Hot shot off the back of the mound. Riker Waite takes the room service hop and finishes off the 38th double play of the season, turned by Vanderbilt, most in the SEC. Well, this Vanderbilt team has the longest active regional streak in college baseball, 19 consecutive under head coach Tim Corbin. Florida just a couple of seasons behind. Then there's LSU, and that streak in danger of ending for the reigning national champs. And Oklahoma State, Dallas Baptist round out the list. So work to be done for Vanderbilt with the RPI sitting at 69. Latest projections have them among the first 4 out. 2nd out behind Michigan coming into the weekend. Tommy Gooden looks at a strike. An RPI over 50 would be unprecedented for an SEC at-large berth. And so that's why Vanderbilt still needs to put some work together. They close this season with series against Missouri and South Carolina, 2 teams in the league who have been struggling. But RPI opportunities exist before then. The problem with Vanderbilt was the non-conference scheduling and the strength of schedule. Not only that, but they put together a whole bunch of wins. 6 losses to the bottom 3 quadrants.
Yeah, they had some opportunities early. I mean, they went to Texas, they went to Vegas, and went 1-5 combined in those 2 tournaments. Harrison with a slider in there. He's now struck out 3 of the first 4 outs in this game. That last one, a slider that Tommy Gooden just couldn't pull the trigger on.
So how high could the RPI jump if Tim Corbin's team just does?
They can get where they
what's
need
expected.
They can get where they need it. If they win 16 conference games, but I think the RPI probably gets there, and the math to get there is not crazy. They go to Tuscaloosa the next weekend, and then you talk about their last 2 series.
I guess my question, without breaking out the calculator, is what kind of impact will 2 of those bottom teams in the league have on the RPI, even if you sweep?
It's not going to hurt it.
Sure.
It's not going to hurt it.
But
it's
you need to
not going to raise
up.
it nearly as much. I mean, listen, the win yesterday bumped them up 6 in one day. And so if Vandy can win this game today, you keep pushing that thing further down.
Rustin Rigdon from Metter, Georgia. Second-year starter for Vandy, and the pitch low. Rigdon hitting about 60 points higher against lefties than he is righties on the season. And Harrison delivers the 1-2. Slider in the dirt. As good as the Longhorn pitching has been, defensively, they're just about an average SEC team. Middle of the pack in double plays turn, and only the top third in fielding percentage. And a big part of that is shuffling guys around and getting Rodriguez back at shortstop, who was their starter there last year as a freshman. Missed a couple of SEC series.
I think he now has the infield that he wants. I mean, you got Rodriguez back at shortstop, and he's healthy. That's the biggest thing. The health was affecting him more offensively than defensively, but allows everybody to play positions on the infield that they're used to being standing at.
8th pitch of the plate appearance. And 95 just missed inside.
That's best Bolt right there, too. Harrison, when he gets it up mid-90s, is rare. Usually pitching that 90 to 92 range, but trying to reach back for a little bit more on that glove side fastball.
There it is. Strikeout number 4.
Carson Tinney is a strike stealer. And just watch the way that glove moves. We talked about it yesterday a bunch, but his moves to frame pitches, he starts low on that low fastball, then the glove is entirely moving up when he catches it. He's not going to get it and pulling it back in. It's one movement that stole one there.
Riker Waite swings at the first. Rodriguez 1-2-3 frame worked by Luke Harrison. When we return, we'll talk with Vanderbilt's head coach, 2-time national champion Tim Corbin. This is Vandy Boys. Look for a series win today. From Nashville, Tennessee, you're watching the SEC on ESPN. Rubber game of this 3-game series. Tom Hart with Kyle Peterson. Pleased to be joined by Vanderbilt head coach Tim Corbin. Corbs, you guys got a shutout yesterday. Held this Texas offense to just 5 hits. What was your impression of your pitching staff, especially led by Aiden Stillman?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, you can put a 0 up against these guys, then you're doing something right. They hit the ball hard, but they hit it at people with a position. But as far as strikes, I think that was the main thing. It was just not donating anything to them because they're very dangerous anyway. So when you give them an extra base, they take advantage of it for sure.
So 2 strikes. Let's go to Neto here too, because in the first 2 innings he faced a minimum. I know it's been a little bit different the last 3 weeks. From your standpoint, what is that balance between young kid that's got to learn how to get out there and throw strikes, or we got to get him out of there because we got to win the game?
Well, I think it is. I mean, it is a balance. I mean, you want to grow the kid in that moment right there, because that's a growing moment for him too when you're thinking about competitive nature. But at the same time, for both these kids, Stillman last night more than Wyatt, because Stillman just hasn't had much ramp-up time. His spring training is right now. So he's doing it against obviously very good competition. Wyatt's a couple weeks ahead of him, but same time, at the beginning of the year, Kyle, we didn't know that these 2 guys were going to be starting baseball games for us, and they just got to grow. That's it. I just hoping that they get better as time goes on, and hope we have enough space here at the end of the year for that to happen.
Corbs, thanks for the time. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Corbs.
Thanks, guys.
Head coach Tim Corbin of Vanderbilt Commodores. I mean, I think we cover it every weekend, every week, and we overreact to being in the moment. But the reality is you're allowed to grow and get better over the course of the season, and the best programs then take advantage of that, even if, as in Vanderbilt's case, you've got some young guys who've been thrust into premier roles. To third, Brody Johnston. Vanderbilt's pitching numbers are definitely off from what we're used to. Last in the league in ERA, 15th in WHIP. That's why the shutout yesterday was so unexpected and appreciated at the same time.
And you just don't see this with Vanderbilt pitching historically. They've been hammered by injuries, and that's a big part of it. That led to Corbs' comment right there that their starter yesterday, Aiden Stillman, and Neto today, they didn't think would be starting on the weekend. But you get some guys hurt. Freshmen get pushed into roles that they didn't see at the beginning of the year, and then it is that balance. Like, you want them to grow, but at this point, they got to win every ball game they can. So the growth has to be within the ability to win the game.
1-0 from Neto to Josh Livingston is low and in. And Neto's a guy that early in the season they thought would be, to your point, pitching in the back end where he could sit in the upper 90s and hit triple digits. Fastball is carried pretty well from a velocity standpoint. And the comp that Tim Corbin made earlier this season, they had a guy by the name of Drake Fellows a few years ago who didn't get the opportunity to start until there was an injury and ended up being a 3-year starter for him.
He never came out after that. Neto's thing is simple. The stuff is going to play. It just has to be enough strikes.
Livingston lifts it to center field. Rustin Rigdon. 2 down. Well, this Texas offense is one that's known for its patience, and the first 2 batters put it in play. That blueprint. The next 6 did not.
No, and that's where you're really doing Neto a favor, because we saw 2 straight guys, Anthony Pack Jr., Adrian Rodriguez, put the first pitch in play. I can promise you that's not the offensive intent today for Texas.
Here's Duplantier. You think they probably got a gentle reminder?
I'm sure there was a brief discussion that followed.
Plantier, senior from Humble, Texas. Watches that one miss up and in. Jim Schlossnagel has taken 3 different programs to the College World Series. Now 2-0 to Duplantier. 0 for 1 in limited time this weekend. Now 3-0 to the 9-hole hitter. Knee-high strike at 94. Neto, big right-hander, 6'6", 242. Back-to-back fastballs. Just caught the handle. Maybe
right
the
off
knob.
the knob of the bat, I think. And this is ball 4.
And the 3-2. They lost him after being behind 3-0. Second base runner of the game for Texas. Hit by pitch and a walk. And it turns the lineup over for Aiden Robbins. Well, Robbins has made a huge jump in his offensive game and a huge jump in the level of baseball that he's playing after Seton Hall recruited him out of Holy Ghost High School outside of Philadelphia. He stuck with that commitment even though he was playing good baseball. Eventually in the portal chose Texas over Vanderbilt, Texas A&M, Tennessee, LSU, and Georgia among others. And look at the power jump from Seton Hall to Texas.
Yeah, that was one of his biggest goals this year. The on base was through the roof for Robbins. The bat to ball was very good. It was just the ability to drive the ball, but particularly the pull side with a bunch of power. This year he's definitely shown the ability to do that. It's why it's pushed him up into the first round of the draft.
Seton Hall was his first offer. And he stuck with that. Appreciated the loyalty. His mom told him in a quote that may have been inspired by Ted Lasso, be a goldfish, have no memory, just stay present.
He did hold up. I thought the reaction of Robbins there led me to believe that he thought he went, but he did just hold up.
And the 1-0.
First at bat to Robbins, it was 6 straight fastballs. He fouled 3 of them off, and then he flew out on the breaking ball. This time 2 straight sliders to start him.
That was a 9-pitch at bat. Start off the game. Getting a slider here.
Yeah, I think he's going to get more sliders and fastballs from here on out. I mean, for Scott Brown, the pitching coach of his Vanderbilt side, I mean, a lot of it becomes what do I think he can throw for a strike.
Right-handers hitting .217 against Wyatt Neto's slider on the season. And there it is, 2-2.
And this at bat to Robbins, he hadn't thrown 1 pitch that would be a called strike. Both the sliders that were swung on were down and out of the zone.
Robbins coming off of an 0-4. He homered twice in the first game of this series. And Neto takes care of him. Got Robbins to chase a couple. Finishes with his first K.
Back-to-back sliders. And that is Neto's calling card. When he's got this one going, the fastball plays up. That was strike 2. Finishes him with a 2-strike breaking ball. 3 scoreless so far for Wyatt Neto.
This team's chasing a national championship. Like there's no doubt about that.
Anything else is not a success for us.
University of Texas has a standard for itself to win national championships.
Everybody's on the same page of winning a national championship.
Our pitching and our depth of pitching is going to give us a chance to be in the game.
Going and getting those final couple wins is the hardest ones to get.
When the time comes, we'll make sure we get it done on the field.
There are a handful of programs where Omaha is the expectation, and it's one of the reasons that Jim Schlossnagle took the job after leading Texas A&M within a win of a national championship. And he has been shy speaking to those expectations. Came up short last year after a SEC championship regular season. Vandy catcher Corbin Reynolds leads off the third. Reynolds out in front of that one. Where would Texas be among your favorites to win a national championship this year?
I think they're on the short list. The question with Texas right now, for me, there's no pitching questions, and I know Riojas has got roughed up a little bit 3 of the last 4 weeks, but that's a guy you want to run out there. It's just offensive depth, and we've talked about it plenty. There's a bunch of thump at the top. We'll see if the power for Adrian Rodriguez continues to come back, which they think it will now with that hand healthy, but that bottom part of the order has to give him something for the balance of the year.
The offense has been MIA, 0 runs the last 15 innings. Full count now to Reynolds. I think something to keep in mind when you talk about national championship hopes is, it's to be one of the 8 that gets there, but then if the weather plays into your hands, this is a Texas team that would obviously, especially compared to other power hitting teams, would be benefited by the wind blowing in.
They're going to like the ballpark. Yeah, the ballpark plays to the type of style they would want to.
Home run rates are generally up, as they have been the last few years in college baseball. Teams averaging more than a home run a game. Georgia leading the country in long balls. But things change when you get to Omaha. Still 3-2 to Corbin Reynolds.
Is a foul ball the only thing in athletics where you feel like both sides feel like they won?
It could be.
I mean, they're cheering on both sides. Like, he fouls it off, Andy's dugout's going crazy. You're pumped up because he threw a strike.
Oh, and Reynolds wears it. They're along the back. There we go. Next MLB on ESPN games for Thursday, May 7th. First in a 4-game series between the Rays and the Red Sox and their new coaching staff, 7 Eastern. Then it's the Cardinals and Padres, both available on the ESPN app. Alex Cora fired yesterday after a 17-1 rout of Baltimore.
How do you fire Alex Cora? I understand they're not any good this year right now, but he's one of the best to do it. He'll have his pick, I'll tell you that.
Well, Hampton looks at his strike, and now he squares. Nothing in 2.
Faced Alex Cora for the first time in our lives when we were 10.
Really?
Yeah. Baseball event.
Were you wearing a jersey or a T-shirt?
Jersey.
Yeah, there you go.
It was jersey time then.
Do you remember the outcome?
Yeah, they won. We got second. They won the tournament. But then we got them 2 years later.
You throwing change-ups at 10 years old?
They didn't let me pitch then.
Tapper. Rodriguez has only one play and sidearms and took a little something off of it. That allowed Hampton to beat the throw down the line.
Texas is challenging to call it first base.
We saw this yesterday, and your second hop on turf sometimes is going to move more than it is on grass. Watch Rodriguez's route. The last minute, he has to go backhand on this, and he was trying to circle it at the beginning, but it spun the opposite way. When he has to go backhand, that transfer takes just a little bit longer, and that could be the difference between safe or out at first base. What do you got?
Give me a sec. He's out.
He called himself safe, so that should figure into the equation, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Ty Blankmeyer's coach at first, he called him safe. You had two different guys down there call him safe, plus a guy that matters. Yeah. And this is a democratic process here. That has to be a part of it.
After replay, the call on the field is out. Texas still has 2 challenges remaining.
Electoral College weighed in.
Redistricting got him right here.
Well, they gerrymandered their way to a runner at second, stayed out of the double play, and it brings Mancini to the plate. Mancini 0 for 1, struck out looking. What an enjoyable post-game interview we did with Mancini after the game last night. No filter. And he still has that boyhood charm that wowed the country in Williamsport when he was on the mound, smirking at every hitter that dared not let him attack them. Tenney reaches for that one. He didn't go.
He's become one of the leaders, though, in major college athletics. You don't see too many seniors that have stayed at the same school for all 4 years. The growth has taken place for Mancini. Now he's one of the main offensive parts in this lineup.
Couple of stolen bases last night. He's now 3rd in the SEC, a perfect 14 for 14, and he's checking with William Van Raphorst in his strike zone there, 2-1. And now he asks for timeout. He'll take a moment to think about it.
Same spot the last 2 times, too. And if it's there, it's definitely the bottom part of the zone, but it was called a strike each time.
Tim Corbin had an observation about this Texas pitching staff after the first game of this series. He said they throw strikes, and they throw strikes in places where you can't do anything with them.
Yeah.
And whether or not that was a strike, there was nothing Mancini could have done with it regardless.
It's not one that you're looking to drive. It's one that you're looking to defend against with 2 strikes. Then he does that. So you go low fastball, both of them with high ride, which it just stays there. You think it's going to go out of the zone, and it stays there. And this time intentionally goes up and out of the zone. And Mancini getting to that 2 strike count can't hold up on the fastball that was up and out.
Brings Brody Johnston up. I feel like over the last few years, whether it be the scientific aspect of it, the analytic results, but 4-seamers low in the zone. That one singled to left. Corbin's going to stop the runner after it was booted by Anthony Pack and headed to second. That one's airmailed, but no further advance by Reynolds. Brody Johnston didn't slide into second as much as he tackled the bag.
Yeah, I watched Tim Corbin coach in third base, and immediately is sending him, and then right at the last minute points at the bag. And we'll get into the discussion of third base coaches. Now you're so used to seeing Wyndon arms go up and all over. Tim Corbin and Nolan Cain, third base coaches in this, you're not going to see a whole lot of reaction over there. Obviously, if he goes because he's misplayed in left field, he's going to score, but not enough time to get him started again.
Max Wiener, the Texas pitching coach, to the mound. Anthony Pack charged with an error that allowed Brody Johnston to make it to second. And so 2 in scoring position with 2 down for Luke Harrison.
So Tommy, we've seen a lot of baseball games.
Yep.
I saw something today about an hour and a half before the ball game that I don't think I've ever seen, and that is a pitching staff taking infield, full infield. Left-handers at third base, left-handers at second base. Max Wiener hitting ground balls. I had to get out and found him afterwards. I'm like, man, that made my day. He keeps them loose, I'll tell you that. He is one of the best in the business at what he does. Same way in both dugouts.
Here's Holcomb. Pitcher's batting practice is one thing.
Yeah.
That's
it's a reward.
Right. Hey, you threw a shutout or you struck out 20. We're going to let you hit.
Pitchers
Did he tell you that the pitchers that they want to take infield?
Oh yeah, did you watch him? Sam Cozart looked. He was 5 years old playing his first baseball game.
Smoked into left center field. This will get 2 runs home as Johnson strides across the plate, and Braden Holcomb with 110 off the bat smokes it into the gap for a 2-run double.
So it was Holcomb last night in the first inning, hit one 424 to left center field that all the outfielders could do was just turn their head and watch land short out the concession stand. 110 off the bat. Lower half goes down to get the 91-mile-an-hour fastball, and these guys at the top of the order can really impact a baseball. 2-out RBI is something that has benefited Vandy. Did yesterday, does it again right here. Holcomb drives in first 2 of the game on a 2-out double.
Doors were just 2 for their last 15 with runners in scoring position, and now Colin Barzy at the plate. One and 0 to Barzy, grounded out to third to close the first. A little flare to right. Duplantier is playing really deep, and he makes a running catch to close the frame. A couple of runs on a couple of hits, and 1 left for Vandy. Commodores lead 2-0. Our ESPN coverage of the Stanley Cup playoff first round continues tonight with a pair of game 4s. Lightning Canadiens at 7 Eastern, followed by the Oilers and Ducks. Montreal and Anaheim both up 2-1 as the road to the Cup rolls on. Lightning and Canadiens are the 9th series in playoff history to go overtime in each of the first 3 games. Teams have been tied for 69% of the minutes played in that series. There is nothing better than overtime playoff hockey.
Except the music right there. That's actually better.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Promo music.
Are you going to hum it for us?
No, but it won't leave my head for the rest of the day, and I think that's wonderful.
14 home runs for Carson Tinney on the year. 1-1. We saw in yesterday's game, freshman starter Aiden Stillman kind of labored through the first inning, needed 22 pitches for Vandy. Then he was gifted a 3-run lead going into the second. And even though he put a couple of runners on, he was holding Texas hitless over the next 3 innings. And that little bit of room really helped him attack the Texas hitters. And now Neto's pitching with a 2-run lead.
There's not a lot of times you see a guy go 3 2/3. And you look at it and go, that was a really good start. It was for Aiden Stillman. He'd only got 5 2/3 innings a whole year.
Tinney sends it to center. Rigdon.
And if Vandy's going to make a run, that's what they're going to need. They're going to need Stillman to be good. They're going to need Neto to not throw like a freshman, and he's not today. Then they need Connor Fennell to get back to that form that they're used to seeing. It's if they pitch, they're going to be in it with anybody. They defend plenty well. The offense is third in the country in home runs. It's just the ability to throw strikes that's got them this year.
Here's Anthony Pack Jr. And you wonder about going in as a 3 seed. The damage that they could do. We saw Florida a couple of years ago.
Yeah, they went to Stillwater.
Yeah, went to Stillwater. And by the way, that was a Florida team that just had to finish above 500 to make the tournament. So their metrics were different than Vandy's, but they were right there in the cut line. They had to be over 500. Vandy's got to get its RPI up, and they go in as the 3 seed, and they run right through Stillwater. And I wonder, we talk about matchups playing such a key role. If Vanderbilt ends up in a regional as a 3 seed that is hitter friendly, they can do some real damage.
Yes.
Now, if you send them to Oregon State, that might be different. I mean, might be tough for them to find offense.
UCLA.
Yep. So 1-2 to the freshman Pack.
You imagine this offense going to Georgia Tech?
Oh boy. I mean, that actually makes sense in a lot of ways.
Absolutely,
from
it
a
does.
Committee
Geographically, it
standpoint.
does.
Georgia Tech offense, it came down from 10-0 yesterday, went 13-10. And that one fits inside the line and will rattle off the brick wall, and it's misplayed in left field. Hampton has to chase it down after it caroms off the fence. And that funny angle as that ball glanced off the wall down the left field line eluded Hampton.
There is not much foul territory once you get down 50 feet past the base, and you see Will Hampton go for this. The pad doesn't go all the way down, so sometimes that ball will take a bounce off of the bricks, and I think that's what happened right there. Shot a little bit further off than Will Hampton did. I think it's a double anyway, and Pack doesn't go to third, but he thought about it.
And now Adrian Rodriguez. One home run, 22 driven in. If you're unfamiliar with his story, it's been a wild ride after he got hit by a pitch in the hand against Missouri in conference play last year. Ended up having surgery in the fall when the hand never healed. And he sends this one to the gap in right center. That's going to get a run home for Texas. And Rodriguez still on his horse and finally throws on the brakes. Back-to-back doubles for the Longhorns. This guy could be a difference maker for him.
He can. He is definitely defensively. But the issue with the hand was he couldn't swing without pain, and so there was no power. It didn't hit a home run until he came back. The first home run of the season was earlier in this series against Vanderbilt. But that's the way that he can impact the ball. You get a backside double on a slider from Anthony Pack Jr. Then Adrian Rodriguez gets another slider that catches a little bit too much of the zone right there.
First run scored in 15 1/3 innings for this Texas offense. Ethan Mendoza ahead in the count 1-0. Longhorns had just one extra base hit last night. Back-to-back two-baggers here with one out in the fourth. Mendoza last year battled through a shoulder injury. He was named to the SEC All-Defensive Team. This was his first year in Texas last year after making 49 starts at Arizona State the year prior. I think there's still room for power in the bat for Mendoza. Put on 10 to 15 pounds of muscle in the offseason. His exit velocity is up. The power is trending up. The thought a few weeks ago is it could be a 15 home run season for Mendoza, who's sitting on 8 right now. And that one will find a hole up the middle. They'll point Rodriguez home. 3 consecutive hits for Texas, and the Longhorns have tied this game in the 4th.
All have been on the slider, too. So second time around the order, Texas taking a little bit different swings. They didn't have a hit until this inning. Now they have 3 in a row, back-to-back doubles, and the RBI single up the middle right there from Mendoza.
And Vandy will have a visit to Wyatt Neto. The only base runners he had allowed prior to these 3 straight hits, a hit by pitch and a 2-out walk. Now Brown, the longtime pitching coach here.
Yeah, we got 2 of the best pitching, 2 of the best staffs, honestly, in college baseball on both sides of the dugout here. Scott Brown out for just a quick talk. They're starting to at least move around right now in that Vanderbilt bullpen.
Mendoza hasn't been caught on the bases this year. There's a freshman catcher, Corbin Reynolds, behind the plate, who's thrown out 13 of 42. Larson has shown good patience this weekend. He's drawn 3 walks, but just 1 for 5 at the dish and a first pitch strike.
That is something that there's a lot of games you won't see Neto throw at all. It was the first pitch changeup, the first one he's thrown today. If he throws it, he's going to throw it to left-handed hitters, but just trying to change pace up a little bit here.
Larson, a junior from Overland Park, Kansas, just outside of Kansas City, started his college career at LSU, won a national championship with the Tigers last year. That went in on the thighs. Now 1-1. It was quite an offseason for Texas as far as the outfielders were concerned. Got a 2nd-round pick, Max Bellew, go to the Rockies, and then they thought they had some transfers lined up. Zach Maroknik ended up being an 11th-round pick of the Nationals. Tommy Farmer left for UCSB. Will Gasparino left for UCLA. And Larson, who was recruited to LSU by third base coach and assistant coach Nolan Cain, was in the portal late and plugged a hole for this Texas program. It's a 20th round pick of the Twins coming out of St. Thomas Aquinas in the KC area. 20th pitch of the inning coming up for Wyatt Neto. Oh, and he went down.
Blew a tire right here. It's an all-turf mound. Plant foot was fine. Didn't affect the pitch, but then...
Did his ankle give out?
No. Just looked like he put skates on for a minute.
Plenty of people walk like that on Lower Broadway.
They do.
Fit right in.
It's usually a little bit later than 1, but...
1-2. Breaking ball chopped to short. Chance for another double play. Riker Waite does it again. Second double play turned by this Vanderbilt defense, and Waite leading the league with 29 double plays turned on this season. Longhorns turn the offense on. Anthony Pack Jr. with a double. Adrian Rodriguez with a run-scoring double. Mendoza with a single. We'll talk with head coach Jim Schlossnagle about this Texas offense when we return. From Nashville, Tennessee, you're watching the SEC on ESPN. Tom Hart, Kyle Peterson. Please be joined by Jim Schlossnagle down in the Texas dugout. Schloss, Luke Harrison, when he takes him out, you guys have won 20 of the last 25. What is it about him in this program that has allowed that level of success?
I mean, you can't coach birthdays. That's what they say. You know, the guy's he's in his 5th year. This is the first time that he's had the same pitching coach back-to-back years. Mac's done a great job with him, and he's just ultra confident. And you know, he's always been there for us, especially after a tough one.
How valuable is a guy like Carson Tenney to every part of what goes on? We've talked about his ability to frame and steal strikes. He's done it a few times already today. But how important is he to everything that you guys do? Yeah,
I mean, there's never been a good baseball team without a good catcher. Right? Hold up. Let's celebrate this.
Hey, look at that.
All right, keep talking. Tenney's awesome. You know, he's right in the middle of everything we're doing. He's really grown the program. Notre Dame did a great job with him too. So we can't, you know, they have to get some credit for his development, but he's done a really nice job of just integrating himself in the program.
You know, we were talking a few weeks ago about where your program stood. This was before Adrian Rodriguez returned, and he's back from the hand injury. And you repeated numerous times that there's a lot of upside for this team. We just got to get healthy and stay healthy, and we want to be playing our best at the end of the season. Where do you think you stand now from in those regards?
I mean, we're as good as we're going to be. Like, we lost Jonah Williams for the year. That really hurt us in the outfield and on offense. But we got to get Mendoza and Borba. I mean, Mendoza and Borba have been really proven players in this league. And we got to get those guys going, trying to give Borba just a mental break, at least for the first part of this game. But I think our best baseball is definitely ahead of us.
And so Borba available as a pinch hitter later today.
For sure. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with him. He's an awesome kid he's really having a good season. He's just in a little bit of a tough stretch. And as you know, sometimes the best thing to do is kind of get away from it, even if it's just for a part of a day.
Gotcha. Appreciate the time. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Les.
All right, boys. Safe travels home.
You came through unscathed. That's unbelievable.
I mean, are you sure? I mean, do we want to finish this?
I didn't think you were going to put it down.
All right. See you.
See you.
Bye.
For those unaware, Jim Schlossnagle has an incredible run of his team suffering bad luck when he's on the headset doing in-game interviews.
With us.
It goes all the way back to his TCU team that had a no-hitter going in Omaha in the College World Series.
I think, yeah, that was the beginning.
Uh-huh.
There's
it was all downhill from there.
Yeah, we did to him again a couple weeks ago.
Good sport. Riker Waite at the plate for Vanderbilt. I like his point about Harrison being a 5th-year guy. Now he's got a same pitching coach for the 2nd straight year for the first time, and the dependability. Forget about stuff, but the dependability of having a veteran to throw game 3 of a series where you know how reliable he's going to be game in and game out.
He may get knocked around, and it happened at A&M. We saw it. He did not have a great outing then, but he's going to compete. He's going to give you a chance. He's not going to be wowed by the environment, and you want that for a starting pitcher in this league.
His dad was his high school coach, baseball rat, and he gets Riker Waite looking. And we have made history. A clean inning for Texas with Jim Schlossnagle on the headset. Yeah, he likes it. 1-2-3 framework by Harrison. Coach reaction.
Hey, sports fans, the ESPN app has all of ESPN all in one place. Visit activate.espn.com to see if you have ESPN Unlimited as part of your TV package for no additional cost. It's all of ESPN all in one place. Sign up or activate now.
And Wyatt Neto ready to go in the 5th inning from Hawkins Field in Nashville. Bottom third of the order due up for Texas. Interesting in between innings. Vanderbilt catcher Corbin Reynolds was on deck when the inning ended. It took him a little while to get geared up and come back out. And Neto was standing on the mound waiting to throw. They didn't have anybody else out there to warm him up. Finally, Reynolds hustled out. You're allowed 8 warm-up pitches. That doesn't mean you need to use them. And Neto just threw a few and said, I'm good to go. Threw a total of 3 warm-up pitches. Fly out to center. First pitch swinging for Becerra.
I am so happy that Chris Burke is not here right now.
Oh, gosh. You had to bring
Because you would have started a 2-inning discussion about why do pitchers need to have warm-up pitches. Hitters don't get to take BP every time before they go to the plate. We'd start this whole thing. That's what you would have just started.
Steph Curry doesn't get to take a few jump shots when he checks back into the game. There's Josh Livingston. Forced to take. Looks at a strike. Livingston, grad transfer from Wichita State. And down in the count, 0-2. Led the team with 15 home runs last year, slugged .555 2 years ago on the AAC All-Tournament team. And 3 pitches to dispatch Livingston. 4 pitches in, and Neto's already got 2 outs in the inning. Here's our next ESPN2 NWSL match. Angel City plays host to Portland at BMO Stadium in LA. Coverage begins later at 6 Eastern. Also available on ESPN Deportes and the ESPN app. Second K for Neto. And Duplantier gets ahead in the count on a borderline pitch, 1-0. We're told that if you walk into the Longhorn facility and you ask for Jaden or Duplantier, you'll be greeted with a blank stare. His nickname is Gumbo. I feel like you'd be a good Gumbo.
Just like as my nickname?
Yeah.
Probably fit that.
Scouting report on Duplantier. He's got a great feel for the strike zone, and he shows it here, ahead in the count 3-0. Brother Andre played at Texas. His cousin John with the Diamondbacks after starring at Rice. Three and one. If you had any food nickname, what would it be?
Like just pick a food?
Yeah.
Bacon.
Not surprised. Your breakfast, just to peel back the curtain, your breakfast in the booth today was simply a plate of bacon.
No, I had a banana too. Don't leave the banana out of this equation. But
potassium and pig. 2-out single for Duplantier. Well, Bacon, what do you got on Wyatt Neto so far? 2 trips through the order.
I've got an outing that this Vanderbilt coaching staff has been waiting to see after the last 3 weeks. Again, 18 combined walks in the last 3 starts. He hit 3 guys, so 21 free batters. Tonight it's only been 2 up to this point. Now, they went back-to-back on him, 2 doubles and a single that led to the 2 runs. But I'll take my chances when this kid's throwing strikes.
Got to be careful with Aiden Robbins. First pitch change up to Robbins. Mix it up.
No.
Neto rock set. A runner on the move. Ground ball to short. Riker Waite bounces it over.
Well done.
To finish the frame. Take us to break, Bacon.
Sorry, a little double take right there, backhand side. And this is when the have the ability to use the turf as your friend. Just one hop it over there, get yourself off the field. Halfway home, we got a good one in Nashville.
Vanderbilt's postseason resume stacks up like this, an RPI really high at 69. Got their 5th win against a top 25 opponent last night with a shutout of Texas. Here's where it matters. In the SEC especially, and over the years, the committee grades on a curve based on really geographic opportunities for scheduling. For example, Washington in 2018 had number 63 RPI and ended up getting into the tournament as an at-large. But the highest RPI for an SEC team since '99 was Bama in 08.
Yeah, there's some sledding to do to get sub 50 for Vandy. It can be done, but it's going to take a win today. Probably bumps them up another 5 or so today. Then it's going to take 3 good weekends to finish, and it could take some work in Hoover. This Vandy team historically has played very well in Hoover.
Won it last year and did it in dominating fashion with a run rule victory over Tennessee. Blanked them 10-0. The 2017 Texas A&M team, by the way, that was on that list, coached by Rob Childress, and now Nebraska coach Will Bolt, one of the assistants, they made it all the way to Omaha.
Yeah.
Caught a break in the 2nd round in the Super Regional. They were able to host after an upset when North Carolina was upset in the regional. Would they get Sam Houston? Is that right?
I thought it was somebody east.
Swing and a miss for Reynolds, and they'll bring Will Hampton up. Here's a look at the SEC standings. Georgia leading the way, 14-6. A&M right behind them.
It's going to be an interesting finale in Oxford today. Georgia and Ole Miss spent about 12 hours at the ballpark yesterday. Finish off that series today, having both split the first 2.
I was way off on that super regional opponent. They got Davidson.
Yeah, east.
Yeah, nailed it.
Might as well take a chance. East or west, you get 50-50 on that one. Somewhere out that way.
And Hampton sends this one to the gap in right center. Robbins grabs it after a hop. And the 9-hole coming up with a knock. Mike Mancini trying to figure it out and figure out the strike zone. 0 for 2 with a couple of Ks. The first one looking, and the second one he fell behind 0-2 after taking a couple pitches on the black. Lefty-lefty matchup with Luke Harrison as far to the first base side as a pitcher could get.
Yeah, you just have to have a piece of that foot touching the rubber, and it is a piece. It's a heel that is on that first base side. Makes it real tough for a left-hander. It looks like everything's coming from behind you.
Where did you like to pitch from?
I started on the opposite side, so all the way on the third base side. And by the time I was done, I ended up there.
Why?
Threw across my body. And when I was all the way on the third base side, it was really hard to get the fastball glove side. So into a left-hander, it was a lot easier if I moved to the side of the rubber that Harrison's on now. A lot of time, stuff profile will dictate where you are out there, too.
Livingston over at first base. When he holds the runner, he's off the bag by a good step. Saw a balk called this past week when the first baseman was a good 10 feet off the bag. Up and into Mancini. One on, one out. Tie game in the rubber game between Texas and Vanderbilt. Rip foul. Unless Harrison makes a mistake, Mancini's not going to get anything to drive. Everything is on the edge.
Yeah, he was just a tick early there, too.
Shift on the infield, left side wide open. They flip Becerra from third and put him over on the right side, leaving Adrian Rodriguez to cover a lot of ground on the left side.
Third time around the order and a much more competitive at bat this time for Mancini, who generally is going to give it to you, but struck out the first 2 times. Any more base runners, I think you'll see that Texas bullpen get up and start moving pretty quickly.
Count goes full. Harrison has won the first 2 battles between these two. An exhale before the payoff pitch. Foul off again.
We talked about the balance between the starters and relievers. This Texas pitching staff. Brett Crossland has not pitched this weekend. Sam Cozart went 2 in the opener but didn't pitch yesterday. Hayden LeFew, the left-hander, has not pitched this weekend. They will be ready to go.
3-2 again. Spoiled again. Bullpen 7th best in college baseball. Overall 5th in the country in ERA as a staff. And the 10th pitch of the plate appearance misses inside. A 1-out walk puts Mancini aboard. And Harrison in a jam with 2 on and only 1 out.
Yeah, here's the be careful zone if you're Texas. You got Johnston, Holcomb coming up, combined 3 for 4 today. Brody Johnson doubled in the first, singled in the third.
Johnson came in to this game just 1 for 10 on the weekend. And Jim Schlossnagle says we'll head to the pen. Be the end of the line for Harrison after 4 1/3. And this is exactly where he struggled in the 3rd inning with back-to-back hits allowed to Johnston and Holcomb. So they'll turn it over to the pen in a tie game with 2 on and 1 out. Let's take it back to the 3rd inning in this rubber game, and Vanderbilt's bats came alive after Corbin Reynolds was hit by a pitch. Brody Johnson came up with a base hit. Braden Holcomb followed with a 2-run double, and the 2 runs charged to Harrison. Only one of them earned over 4 1/3, and in the 4th inning, Texas got its offense going. 3 consecutive hits. Anthony Pack Jr. with a double, Adrian Rodriguez with a run-scoring double, and Ethan Mendoza with a sing-high single to drive in the 2nd run. That's the offense for today. 2 apiece, and Harrison exits after 4 1/3. 7 Ks, and he gives way to Brett Crossland.
You take that on a Sunday every time from your Sunday starter. Now you get into the big boys. Brett Crossland, the 6'5" right-hander, is going to come right over the top. It is mid to upper 90s fastball, primarily fastball cutter. He's been rock solid for him the entire year, with the exception of really 1 outing, and that was against A&M a couple weeks ago.
Brody Johnson 2 for 2 today. Johnson comes in hitting .357 against righties on the season, and it kind of evens a 1-1. About 25 points higher than he hits against lefties. Got 2 guys on in front of him. Fouls another one off. Johnson entered the week with a 9-game hit streak. The weekend, I should say. Breaking ball didn't bite.
Didn't break.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big gap, though. The curveball is 70 miles an hour, which is slower than he generally throws it. And the fastball's already been up to 96.
And it's tattooed to left field. Pack drifts back and handles it. 2 down.
Just off the barrel, just far enough to the end of the bat right there. If that's barreled up, it's midway up that wall or traveling over it. Instead, just enough movement on that cutter to get it off the barrel.
Talking with Tim Corbin in game yesterday, and he mentioned with this power that Vanderbilt has shown this season, he's doing a little bit less as an offensive coach. And Braden Holcomb swings at the first. And this is why, because Holcomb, among others in this lineup, got a real pop. This one exited the ballpark.
I want to run into any outs if you got guys that have the ability to do that. The top of this lineup has shown consistently the ability to do that.
Carlson had a couple appearances in the Bama series last weekend, back-to-back. Pitched in a 3-1 victory game 2 and pitched in the 2-1 loss in the series finale with an inning of work. You know, Carlson comes set and he holds the glove so close to his chest. It's kind of like you hovering over your plate of bacon at breakfast. Like nobody's going to touch this, protecting it with his life.
I know that feeling, Brett.
Chopper, foul. So dead even in the 5th, and with the strength of the Texas bullpen, you would think that the win probability would swing over to the visitors here the rest of the way.
This is the advantage of being as balanced as Texas is on that pitching staff. They are just fine going to the bullpen in the 5th today.
Jim Schlossnagle looking for another series win. In 2 years at Texas, he's only lost one SEC series against an unranked opponent. That was Florida last year. Swing and a miss. Crossland gets a huge K to close the frame, and Vandy strands a pair.
Good time to break that one off. You're 95, 96 up in the zone. Cutters up in the zone. Once you turn this thing over, change up that just dives. We got a really good one. 5 complete, all knotted up at 2.
Well, the headline in college baseball, the year of the catcher this season. Some great defensive catchers and guys with offense, and that includes the guy in the middle, Daniel Jackson, who's now a member of the 2020 club. Had a couple of bags yesterday, 20 home runs, 20 stolen bases for a catcher.
You see much of Von Lackey?
Not enough is the answer.
He is so much fun to watch. Looks like it'd be the first college catcher taken this year in the draft. Leads that Georgia Tech offense. Played all 8 positions in one game earlier this year just because he can.
Here's Carson Tinney, last 11 on a tear. Am I right that the game that he played all 8 positions, the last position was behind the plate?
Yeah.
You would think you would reverse that.
Start behind the plate?
Yeah, and move around. Then he had to tie his shoes, and now he pops up to shallow center. Rigdon racing in. That is a similar play that Vandy ran into some trouble last weekend when Mike Mancini collided with Johnstone, but able to handle it. One down with Anthony Pack Jr. coming up.
And no Logan Johnstone this weekend in this Vandy offense, who always hits right at the top of the order. They're hoping to get him back in the next few weeks.
He's in concussion protocol. Pack 5 for 10 this weekend.
A curveball there from Neto. He's thrown a couple of those today. You can see the movement is similar to the slider, not quite as tight, but the velocity difference is about 10 miles an hour.
Pack's been aggressive today. Swung at the first his first time up. And takes a hack at the second.
He went backside ground ball and a slider last time. So they go first pitch slow curveball. Then he throws a changeup the next pitch to get out in front 0-2.
Just missed with the fastball. Pitch sequence perfect. Just missed a spot.
Pretty good spot to go live 0-2. You get a swing on it. Going to be tough for Pack to do anything with it. That was just off the plate, but where you want to throw it that far up in the count.
And to the breaking ball for strike 3 swinging.
So 4 pitches in the at bat, and he showed you everything in the arsenal. It's primarily fastball slider, but first pitch curveball, then a changeup to get up 0-2, 94 off the outside black, and then finish with this one. That slider that he gets a swing and miss about 50% of the time when hitters offer. Got another one right there.
Base is empty for Adrian Rodriguez. Rodriguez ended a 16-inning scoreless streak for Texas with the RBI double in the 4th. Switch hitter has been much better from the left side. That one low, and he just kicks it back to the mound.
I'll get him chirping a little.
I don't want it.
No, thank you. Don't need it. Got a little peek and a quick discussion from Mr. Van Rapphorst behind home plate.
Yeah, don't forget we got our ESPN NWSL match later. Angel City and Portland will be kicking it around. Rodriguez trying to get in on the fun. Fights it off to the camera well. Rodriguez returned to action against Alabama last weekend. Made all 3 starts at short. Mancini. The 1-2-3 frame worked by Wyatt Neto. Just 10 pitches needed for 3 outs. Well, we've shown you some of the best teams in college baseball. Let's dial in on some of the best players in the Golden Spikes Award race. Many think headlined by these four.
That's a pretty good group right there. Hairston, Tech Davis tied for the national lead in home runs at 25 apiece. Arizona State, we got to see them in the postseason. Give everybody a chance to see Landon Hairston, just a sophomore, not draft eligible, as is Tech Davis. Daniel Jackson, the catcher, already in the 2020 club this year. And Rock Chalowski's been the talk of college baseball since he showed up on campus 3 years ago, having another solid year for the Bruins.
First pitch low and away to Colin Barcy. Daniel Jackson was part of a thriller yesterday in Oxford, Mississippi. Game 1, Ole Miss scored 10 unanswered after being down 8-0 in the fourth. Will Furniss on the day 5 for 8 with 3 home runs for the Rebels. Jackson had 3 stolen bases to get to the 2020 club, and in game 2, Trey Phelps had the game-winning home run in the top of the 14th in a 9-7 Georgia win.
Good day to be a beer distributor in Oxford. If they're hitting that many home runs and they play a doubleheader, the last one going 14 innings, there was some showers. Will Furniss hit 3 yesterday?
Yeah, over the 2 games, 5 for 8. That's a pretty good day.
He had 2 on the year coming into yesterday.
Talk about turning your season around. Upstairs to Barcy, who's 0 for 2 today. Texas lost a 1-run game in the finale against Alabama. The 9 losses in the season for the Longhorns, 4 of them have come in 1-run games, as Barcy coaches a leadoff walk from Crossland. And that brings Tommy Gooden to the dish. Texas bullpen springs into action. Gooden came into this weekend with 42 SEC at-bats and 5 home runs in league play, giving him 9 on the season. Ooh. Game 3 against Tennessee, had a pinch hit walk-off grand slam. And his parents were in town for their first games of the season. Gave his mom Denise the home run ball after the game. Can't find 96. He was asked about it after the game, and he gave credit to Jason Esposito, the first-year hitting coach for Vanderbilt, and he said he pulled me aside, and he's really helped me transition from being a see-ball, hit-ball hitter to being more process-driven. Easy to see when you get 2 up in the eyes.
Yeah, he's had a few. It looks like the book for Gooden, at least in this at-bat, is elevated fastballs. It is big-time power. It's big-time power the other way. It doesn't need to be to the pull side for Gooden. It's also been big-time swing and miss. That's why he hasn't been in there all the time. But when he connects, it's usually damage.
Drove in 5 of the midweek win against Xavier. And right through 96, second K for Crossland.
This clearly was the intent against Gooden, as they stayed fastball the entire time. The last one up and out of the zone, there were 2 that were in the same spot. Then this one close enough, could have been a called strike, but close enough to offer at right there, and Gooden swings right through it for strike 3.
Rooster, Rustin Rigdon at the plate. Rooster's a pretty good nickname, right? I mean, you can go back to Top Gun.
I had a buddy in high school that was a Rooster.
What was his first name?
Rick.
Ranger, better name for a guy named Rick.
I'll let him know.
Well, if you're Rooster, you got to like early starts, right? Noon first pitch today, 1-1 now. I would still think on a list of nicknames, Bacon would be a half step ahead of Rooster.
Is that one going to stick?
It's got a chance.
I already had somebody text me about it, so.
You're very popular. Thanks. 1-2 now. Was it a member of your family?
No, they don't watch.
Whoever's selling Rooster masks in the Nashville area has seen an uptick in sales, that's for sure. Four-time All-State performer. Metter High School in Georgia. A little dribbler to the right side. Stumble off the back from Livingston, but he recovers. 2 down, and Barcy advances to second.
He executes that cutter. It's 96 down to 98 with a fastball the top part of the zone. That's a cutter against a left-hander at 92 that will explode wood bats when he gets into pro ball.
Here's shortstop Riker Waite. Early enrollee last year. Played just 8 games for Vanderbilt behind Jonathan Vastine at short. None of those 8 games were decided by fewer than 7 runs. He only got 3 at-bats in the season. Arrived here as a 17-year-old after leaving high school early. Corbs was talking about fantastic job 3-year starter Jonathan Vastine did as a mentor, and Riker Waite was in Vastine's back pocket every day. Great summer in the Cape. Was a Cape Cod League All-Star for Bourne, and they won the Cape Championship.
Yeah, he almost got an internship last year. Where you sit and watch Vastine every day. He knew, wasn't sure if Vastine was going to come back. He ends up coming back for his senior season, and it's like that backup quarterback that they don't want to play right away in the NFL. You get a chance to just watch the game for the first year. He had a chance to do that, and he stepped in and been a starter from the jump this year.
Well, that one caught Tinney off the tip. .64 240 behind the plate.
Let's get the bare hand. Oh no. Missed the shinnies.
Here's Crossland's 2-2. This one will reach the seats. Tinney never saw it. No matter. Wind has picked up just a little bit, blowing in from right.
It's a pretty good one right here. Even if they get him, it's forcing that pitch count up for Crossland, and now nearing 40 pitches for the right-hander.
Already third most pitches thrown in a game by Crossland this season. And the breaking ball got him in the foot. Walk and a hit batter. 2 on 2 out.
This one a curveball, which he doesn't throw very often. It looked like a curveball. They just held on a little bit too long, and Riker Waite's not going anywhere on that one, especially after battling up to that point. If you can get yourself to first base anyway, that's the goal.
Up to the bottom of the order for Vanderbilt, Corbin Reynolds. 1 for 9 this series with 7 strikeouts. Reynolds forced into action early this season due to some injuries. He's from Clarksville, Tennessee, was rated the #1 catcher in the state. Dad Kelly played at Wisconsin Platteville before a long career in the military. First sergeant with 101st Airborne. Into center. Ballpark's going to hold this one. It's playing big today, and Robbins hauls it in. 4 stranded over the last 2 innings for Vanderbilt. We got 6 complete on a beautiful day in Music City. Our next MLB and ESPN games are Thursday, May 7th. First in a 4-game series from the Rays and the new look Red Sox at 7, and the Cardinals and Padres. Both games available on the ESPN app. Joey Cora fired by the Red Sox yesterday about 1 o'clock in the morning. Put up a picture of him, and the rest of the Red Sox coaches have been fired, getting on a chartered flight back to Boston. Red Sox had sent a van to pick up the coaches from the team hotel. Hashtag my people. Jacob Schultz takes over for Vanderbilt. 6'2" lefty making his 15th appearance.
Schultz fastball right around 90. This is kind of part of that injuries to the Vandy bullpen and guys in different roles. He's been fine this year. One thing is the walks haven't been terrible. 10 walks in 19 innings, plenty of swing and miss, and a good day for the freshman. Neto was great. He was outstanding. The 1 walk is the biggest number that jumps off based on what had happened the last 3 starts. Not as much swing and miss as you're used to seeing, but more in the zone, especially after the first inning. He leaves in the 7th in a tie ball game, but was exactly what you would want to see if you're the Vandy staff.
And think about the freshmen who've taken the mound to start the last 2. Combined 9 2/3 and 2 earned. And the first pitch curveball misses inside to Ethan Mendoza. By the way, as far as those Red Sox are concerned, 3-0 lead in Baltimore in the 5th inning. Brought up the AAA manager to be the interim. Here's the 2-0. In for a strike. Holcomb in right. Down. Ashton Larson's spot is due up, but he'll be lifted in favor of a pinch hitter here. Presley Corville will get a chance. Remember, we talked with Jim Schlossnagle earlier in this game. They've got some pinch hitting options today.
Yeah, Casey Borba's one of them.
Yeah,
and he may not want to play that card until he's got base runners on. Borba struck out 4 times yesterday. I think this is more of just take a breather for a little bit.
Corville 3 for 5 as a pinch hitter this season. Ball's behind 0-2. Three hits as a pinch hitter, 5 hits total. Ran inside on him, 1-2. Only one start this season for Corville. That was as the DH against Baylor in late February. And 2 for 4 with his lone extra base hit of the season. And chase it up and out of the zone. 2 down.
Jacob Schultz stayed all fastballs right there, but they're trying to crowd him with the glove side fastball early. Then this time elevate. 2-strike count. Corville can't hold up.
Base is empty and 2 down for Temo Becerra. And the first pitch breaking ball, 1-0. Two 2-0 to Becerra. And if he can reach, we'll see Casey Borba, who's in the on-deck circle. Texas looking for the lead, and if they get the lead, then they can make a change and go to Cozart out of the bullpen. Pitched game 1 of this series, pitched in a blowout against Alabama last week as well. Low and in. And here's the opportunity for Borba now after the 2-out walk to Becerra, and Borba's trying to get out of the basement from a hitting perspective. He was 1 for 8 this series, struck out 3 times and an 0 for 4 last night.
You look at his numbers on the year, they're not bad at all. Borba double-digit in home runs. He has 10 home runs. Just has been scuffling the past couple weeks.
And Corbin Reynolds will head to the mound, buying some time for the Vanderbilt bullpen, where Alex Kranzler is getting loose. You had a service for your coach, Mark Marquis.
It was
last week.
Yeah.
Did he ever allow a reliever to warm up without a hat on?
No, that would have been changed quickly if he saw it. He didn't talk to us pitchers a whole lot, so I don't know that he would have noticed it. But
to be fair, from what I remember at Stanford, you only had 1 hat anyway.
We did.
All season.
Yeah. Hat.
You get a new one every year?
Yeah.
Okay, that's nice.
Had 3 hats in 3 years. still got him.
Call to the bullpen as Schultz exits after 2/3 of an inning, but a walk to set up the Borba at bat. KP's favorite theme music brings in our ESPN coverage of the Stanley Cup playoff first round tonight with a pair of game fours. Lightning Canadians at 7 Eastern, followed by Oilers and Ducks. Montreal and Anaheim both up 2-1 as the road to the Cup rolls on. I turned the theme music up on my little mixing board here.
I appreciate it.
You got me hooked. Here's Alex Kranzler, 6'3" junior from Norwood, New Jersey, 2-3 with a 9.22 ERA, but more strikeouts than innings pitched.
The stuff is good. It's low to mid-90s on the fastball. Cutter off of it, a breaking ball that has some swing and miss to it, but he has been touched up this year.
So first plate appearance for Casey Borba today.
And Kranzler sped up because Borba walked out on deck. Livingston's still out there. I'm not sure if they go to Kranzler in this spot because it would have been left on left. But instead, when Borba walked out there, that's when Kranzler really got going to the bullpen.
Becerra drew the 2-out walk, and Borba fooled on that one, 1-1. Junior from Santa Ana, California. Low and away to Borba. That Eric was the head coach at Orange Lutheran where he played after being at Sonoma State. He's trying to get right after struggling the last few weekends in league play. One swing could do it for him. Now 3-1. .22 home runs over the last 2 seasons for Borba. Fooled again. Oh, yeah. Thought it was ball 4.
He tried to play it off. He tried to play it off by dropping the bat. But that's a cool veteran move right there. But this one definitely goes far enough around.
And a look back to the mound. Borba none too pleased, but Texas, which has yet to lead in this game, now has an opportunity with 2 down in the 7th.
Well, it's both been gifts. It's a walk and a hit batsman here with 2 outs.
And here's Jane Duplantier. He's reached base twice with a walk and a single. Lone home run for Duplantier came in game 2 of the series at Auburn back in late March. Watches 96, missed, 2-0. And they'll have a powwow on the back of the mound with no action in the Vanderbilt bullpen that I can see.
No, this ball game's Kranzler's for now.
Finds the edge, 2-1. Ground ball. Riker Waite gets there, shuffles his second for the only out they need, and Texas misses an opportunity, stranding a pair.
For the kid that should be a freshman right now, came in a year early, had a chance to watch a good one, and Jonathan Vastine. This is well done to get him off the field. Easy flip to get the Vandy boys in. Stretch time. We're tied at 2.
The real fun just getting started.
Run straight for the breakaway.
The celebration is on.
We've got about a month left in the regular season for the conference tournaments, and here's how the projected top 8 national seeds shake out. Remember, this is important in the college baseball postseason, because if you win, you got a chance to be home the first 2 weekends before Omaha.
Coastal back up there has battled injuries. Good sign for Coastal this weekend. Cam Fluke pitched for the first time in over 2 months. Went 2 innings, but they'll continue to ramp him up. If they get healthy and they're playing home baseball for 2 weeks, it's going to be tough to keep the Chants out of Omaha yet again. Texas back to the bullpen of left-hander Hayden LeFew. Transfer from Wake Forest, who, if he throws strike 1, you're in trouble, because that's when the curveball comes out and there's not a lot of people that hit it. Strike 1 is the issue sometimes for LeFew, but if that one is there, it is real swing and miss stuff. He's given up 3 hits this year, Tom. 3 hits. This is the 12th time he's been on the mound.
That'll excite the fans.
It's probably 2 with Hampton in the 9-hole spot where Vandy's taking one here.
Ground out to short and a single up the middle for Hampton. Takes a strike. Head coach Tim Corbin, also the third base coach.
See that reaction by Tinney? Point back with the glove. He's waiting to hear something. Didn't hear the strike call. I think he thought that one was there. It's that immediate, yep, we got him point. Whoop, hold on.
Full count now to Hampton. Didn't see action as a freshman for Vanderbilt last year. Got a start against Kentucky last weekend, 2 for 2 with a home run. And the breaking ball chopped to the right side. On down. And here's Mike Mancini. Elsewhere in college baseball, Kansas is 16th in the country. Sunflower Showdown leading Kansas State 8-6 as the Jayhawks look for a sweep. And they're trying to start 17-4 in Big 12 play.
Yeah, they are continuing to move up squarely in the host position right now. They played Nebraska twice this year and beat them both times too, and that helps that resume for KU.
When is the last time KU hosted?
I can tell you the last time they were in Omaha was '94. I don't know if they hosted that year, but
inside 2-1. West Virginia in position to host. Mountaineers lead Cincinnati 3-2 in the 7th inning. Trying to win this series. It's even at 1 apiece. And Nebraska's trying to take a series from Illinois. It's a 1-0 Husker lead in the 6th inning. You think that place will be rocking in the postseason? Another chopper. Got to go to it quickly and in time for the second out.
Well, it was last weekend. They swept SC at home, and Haymarket was sold out all 3 days. Yeah, it's been almost 20 years since Nebraska hosted last.
20 years?
Close, yeah.
Was that their Omaha team?
One of them. They got there 3 times. Dave got them there once or twice, and then Mike Anderson after that.
First pitch strike to Brody Johnson. Was their head coach Will Bolt playing on that team the last time they hosted?
I don't know if he was then. He was definitely on one of the Omaha teams at least.
Johnson pops it up a mile high. Tinney calling for it, loses the mask and handles with ease. 1-2-3 frame worked by Hayden LeFew. Off to the 8th.
day, because that's what, from a professional standpoint, if you're just going to look at the pure baseball stuff, that's what motivates you every day. That's what motivates me. I don't feel like that's my purpose. I mean, my purpose is to help young people develop into the best version of themselves, and I feel like I'm in the character and leadership development business. I mean, that's my purpose.
I thought by the look of that video, that interview, that Jim Schlossnagel, 7 career Omaha appearances, his purpose was to show him how to grow a lip sweater. He was rocking the mustache.
There was some, yeah, they had some going. Ruger still has his. I think it was he was going to grow it until they got beat again or something. I think you should do that. You should grow one until we get to Hoover.
Sure. I think 2 to Robbins. I'll do it.
Whatever you're going to say, the answer is no.
No, I'll do it.
Where you're going.
You know, you'll be up for this. If we can have a Magnum PI costume party in Hoover and someone brings me a Tigers hat.
I'll bring you the Tigers hat.
Right. Here's the 1-2 to Robbins, and he muscles this one into center field for a leadoff single. Well, they got off to a fantastic start this season. And that shot him towards the top of the rankings, projected as a #3 national seed. And they started the season with 16 wins before suffering their first loss. Carson Tenney at the plate. By the way, you follow up on previous half-inning conversation. Kansas has never hosted.
I was a year off, too. They went to Omaha in '93, not '94.
Tenney 0 for 3 today. And here's Scott Brown to make a visit to the mound. Stirring in the Vanderbilt bullpen. A couple of guys. And with the lefty Anthony Pack Jr. on deck, they got a lefty getting loose, Miller Green.
Yeah, Luke Guth went 2 1/3 yesterday. Tyler Baird with the back end 3. So both are probably down today. Guth was 36. Baird, I would assume, is absolutely down. He went 49 pitches yesterday.
Well, this is the high leverage situation. 2 and 3 due up next, and Tenney looks at a strike. 1-1. Texas in the finale against Alabama had its offense disappeared. The bats slumbering today as well. 2 runs on 5 hits. And of those 5, only 2 extra base hits. Robbins has 10 swipes on the year. Ooh, he was leaning.
There was a lean there, yeah. Two leans.
Held on by Tommy Gooden. And down goes Tenney. And 0 for afternoon for the Texas catcher.
It's a big out right there for Kranzler. You get leadoff man on, Tenney coming up. It looked like a cutter that just stayed on the outside part of the plate. Just enough movement to get it over the top of the barrel of Carson Tenney right there in a big spot.
Anthony Pack scored the first run of the game for Texas back in the 4th. Followed a double. Came into today 11th in the SEC in batting average. Whoa, all the way to the backstop off the edge of the glove of Reynolds. And a wild pitch allows Robbins to walk to second.
I think it's a split. It just zips out of the top of his hands. And Tim Corbin's seen enough. That's that one going to the backstop, first base open right here, and they'll go left on left.
Neto works 6th and Schultz 2/3. And now Kranzler done after 2/3 himself. Vandy going back to the bullpen. Game 3 of this series from Hawkins Field in Nashville, Tennessee. It's the rubber game between two teams in opposite ends of the postseason spectrum. Texas slugged away to an 11-4 win, game number 1, shut out by Vandy's pitching staff yesterday. The Longhorns in position to be a national seed, projected as number 3, and Vanderbilt with postseason hopes riding on a strong finish to the season. Right now they would be out of the NCAA tournament. And so a series win against a top 5 opponent would be a huge feather in the Commodores' cap. Back to the bullpen. This is 6'5" left-hander Miller Green. ERA north of 8. He's only thrown 3 1/3 innings.
Yeah, he's just working his way back, and this is one of those arms that they really wanted to get back. Miller Green, power left-hander. That fastball's low 90s. Fastball slider. But now with first base open, Anthony Pack Jr. from the left side, they'll go to the left-hander to try to get the freshman at the plate.
Pack's actually a better hitter against lefties and righties this season. He's got reverse splits, 1 for 3 today. And Green misses with his first opportunity. 356 overall, 378 against Southpaws. Freshman from Lakewood, California. Three and 1. That one gets by Tinney on ball 4, or pardon me, by Reynolds on ball 4, and That'll allow Robbins to advance to third.
That's a big one right there. And Texas not a team that's going to safety all that much. Troy Tulowitzki out to talk Adrian Rodriguez right now, but with that runner at third base and less than 2 outs, it at least gives you the ability to do it if you want to.
A lot of coaching going on with Tulo talking with Rodriguez, and Nolan Cain over at third chatting up Aiden Robbins. And part of the things that Troy Tulowitzki's trying to instill in Rodriguez is a little bit of confidence here. Only has 6 hits against lefties this year. Just 6 for 41. Tim Corbin's going to go right back out there. They're going to go to the right-hander.
I don't know. This may be talking about how you defend it if they put it down.
Okay. He did not ask for the baseball.
Yeah,
so right.
it seems like this is more of a if they do this, then we're going to do this. And it should be on one of 2 different things. Whether you get action on the base pass if Pack tries to steal, or ultimately if you get a safety.
The right-hander
he thought he was in the game, but he wasn't in the game.
He didn't cross the line, and Corb's never signaled out there, so he'll head back to the pen.
Yeah, that was Brennan Cyber that came out. Slow walk in, kind of looking up to wait for somebody to call him in. Instead, spun around and went back to the bullpen.
Song written about that once. Put me in, coach. Cyber, I'm good to go. So runners at the corners, see if Texas gets creative. Swing and a miss for Rodriguez. Lost on that one, and an easy 90 feet for Pack.
Now, if you're Tim Corbin, you probably bring the infield in. You could play back a little bit looking for a double play. Now I would bet that he brings them in.
Mancini's staying back. He didn't get the memo yet. Here he comes. Maybe. And he bounces it home. And now Mancini will finally come all the way into the green. Robbins runner at third, Pack the runner at second. And a 1-1. Backdoor breaking ball stayed outside. And they'll put him on.
Yeah, I would think they put him on, and now they go to Cyber.
And Tim Corbin leaning, but not just yet. Here he is. And so with the bases loaded and Ethan Mendoza due up, Cyber will enter out of the Vanderbilt bullpen. The game hanging on the line, the series hanging on the line, and maybe for Vandy, postseason hopes as well. Vanderbilt's streak of 19 consecutive NCAA tournaments hanging by a thread as of this week among the first 4 out. Number 2 behind Michigan. And so a series victory would carry a lot of weight for Vanderbilt, both in the committee's eyes against a top 5 team and certainly as it impacts the RPI, which is at an inflated 69 coming into action today. So it rests on the shoulders of Brennan Cyber, enters with the bases loaded to face Ethan Mendoza, junior from Newport Beach, California, 6'6", 240. He's 5-1 with a 5.04.
He's also one of their best ground ball guys out of the bullpen. I think that's one of the reasons you load it up right here. That infield goes back, so you got a chance to have a double play still in order. And Cyber, when he's at his best, it's a lower 3/4 action with good sink on the fastball, and they are thinking 2 outs with 1 pitch right now if you're Vandy.
Vandy leads the SEC in double plays turn. And the first pitch tugged, 1-0 to Mendoza, who was 2 for 9 with the bases loaded this year. Riker Waite has turned 2 double plays himself today, but they've got the shift on the infield. And that misses away. So it'll be up to Mancini to turn it. Vandy got double plays in the 2nd and the 4th to get out of trouble. The 2-0. Into center field. Rigdon drifts back and deep enough to bring Robbins home, and Texas has its first lead of the game on a sac fly from Ethan Mendoza.
Well done by the veteran right there, working into a plus count. He knows he's going to get a fastball. That one elevated enough to, if you get it anywhere deep enough in the outfield, that base runner's going to score. And a good job by Anthony Pack Jr. to go 2nd to 3rd on that as well.
And so Texas will go back to another pinch hitter. This is Callum Early. He only has 3 at-bats in the season. He is 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. And he sends it up the middle. Riker Waite is there, and he wins the race to the bag. Texas loaded the bases thanks to a couple of walks and a leadoff single to get 1 run to show for it. We'll see if that's enough. It's down to game 3, and it's down to the bottom of the 8th inning as Texas leads for the first time today, aiming for a series victory against Vanderbilt. And now with a 1-run lead, Jim Schlossnagle able to go to his closer. Sam Cozart, the 6'6" right-hander from High Point, North Carolina, making his 2nd appearance this weekend. He is 5-0 with 6 saves.
Yeah, just a freshman, but he's pushed into probably the most important role in this Texas bullpen. 36 1/3. He's punched out 52. The control's been outstanding. He walks less than 2 per 9 innings, and he's given up just 12 hits. The freshman has been dominant on a mound this year. It's mid-90s, a cutter, a break ball, and a split. It's somebody that with high-end stuff really fills up a strike zone.
And he'll face 3, 4, and 5 in this Vandy batting order. Vanderbilt, one of the top home run hitting teams in the country. And they've had some late inning magic here at Hawkins Field. And that included 3 consecutive walk-offs against Tennessee. Holcomb was a big part of their walk-off wins last year as well. First pitch, bottom of the 8th, in for a strike. Half swing, Cozart's got it. 1 down. Cozart was a starter at the beginning of the season. 3 of his first 4 appearances came as a starter. Settled into the bullpen once league play rolled around in mid-March. He came into the Bama game number 1 last week with a 7-run lead and worked 3 innings, and he came back the next day after 39 pitches and threw 13 more. Colin Barcy is 0 for 2. .95, 0-2.
It's rare that a kid comes in as a freshman, has the role that Cozart does at the back end of the bullpen, and combines mid-90s split, break a ball and throw for a strike, and then big-time control. But he's done it the whole year.
And Vandy stays aggressive against Cozart. When he entered the game on Friday, Jim Schlossnagle told his pitching coach, I want the first pitch to be middle fastball. Let's see if they're going to take or they're going to swing. And they swung. You see only 1 earned run allowed. That came against South Carolina on April 3rd over his last 8 appearances. He ended up retiring all 6 batters he faced on Friday night on just 25 pitches. Tommy Gooden 0 for 3 today with a couple of strikeouts.
This is the one you got to be careful of because he doesn't have to get it all. Gooden can run into one and tie this ball game up. 2 off-speed pitches to start the at-bat.
Make it 3 in a row. Cozart has not pitched in a game that Texas has lost all season. Here's the 2-1. Three-one pitch. And Cozart right back into the bat.
I like it. They turned him loose 3-1 right there, too. Challenge him with a fastball, 94, just up and out of the zone. See if they go back to that or try to go off speed against Gooden in the left-handed swing.
Then he tried to help him, but it's a 2-out walk to put Gooden aboard.
Didn't miss by much, but watch how far Tinney's glove has to go. Starts on one side, really has to reach for that. Then you can see him bring it back. You want that one on the mound, but it looked like it did just miss in. Now Tim Corbin will pinch run for Gooden here with 2 outs.
This will be Cage Sears. And Rustin Rigdon with an opportunity for Vanderbilt. He is 0 for 3 today, 1 for 10 this weekend.
Sears can really run. This has been his role this year, is to come in and pinch run. 2 stolen bases on the year. He's 2 for 2.
Borba holding him on. And there he goes, and it's ripped down the right field line and into the corner. Sears floating around third. Tim Corbin waving him home. And Vanderbilt has tied the game on a Rustin Rigdon double. We are tied at 3 in the 8th inning. For those of you wanting to stay with us here in Nashville, flip over to ESPN News or stay right here on the app. Meanwhile, game 4 between the Blazers and the Spurs, with Victor Wembanyama back for San Antonio. Riker Wade at the plate for Vanderbilt. Game-tying double off the bat of Rustin Rigdon. And to your point, Cage Sears, a former football recruit, was absolutely flying around the bases. 1-0 to Wade. Now 2-0. That was the first hit allowed by Cozart in the last 7 2/3 innings.
Well, you talked about the aggressiveness too. I mean, in that case, Rigdon didn't waste any time. First pitch he saw, drilled it down the right field line. Now they'll put Riker Wade on right here.
This is what Rustin Rigdon did a moment ago.
At 93 miles an hour, and that's up in the zone. The left-hander can go get it. Just drops ahead on it. We talked about Sears and the ability to run. The minute this ball is down, he is thinking one thing, and Tim Corbin doesn't even have to give a sign on that. You just run until they tag you, and they're not going to do it.
You know, he didn't have to, but he did, and he went to old school. It was a full windmill from Tim Corbin.
Sometimes the game gets into coaches too. You get a little fired up on that one.
And both sides know what's on the line here in this one. Not just a series win for Texas, but a massive postseason opportunity for Vanderbilt.
It's too early to say season defining at this point for Vanderbilt, but it really is. It sounds overly simplistic with one game. It is season changing if they can win this series.
It feels like, not to overstate, it's win and you're in. And you take care of business the rest of the way, it might be the swing game for him. 8-hole hitter Corbin Reynolds after Max Wiener had a visit on the mound with Sam Cozart and the rest of the Texas infield. 3 base runners, all with 2 outs this inning for Vandy, and a soft line drive to end the frame. But not before Vandy ties it with the double from Rustin Rigdon. We go to the 9th, locked at 3. the season. But with 2 outs, a walk, and a double, and Vandy has tied this game at 3 as we head to the 9th inning. Bottom third of the order due up for Jim Schlossnagle's squad, starting with Temo Becerra. And you have to be aware of Vanderbilt's recent history in this ballpark with dramatic late game wins, including all 3 games of the Tennessee series a few weeks ago. This is Temo Becerra. Max Jensen takes over for Tommy Gooden at first. Brendan Cyber allowed a sac fly when he entered in the 8th. 2-1. Ground out and a fly out for Becerra before a 7th inning walk. And a fly ball to right field. Holcomb just shy of the track. A pitching dominant day, only 10 hits combined between the 2 offenses. And Vanderbilt cool to go back to the bullpen, into the line for Seibert with 1 out in the 9th inning. And the bottom 2 hitters in the Texas lineup do up. We'll tell you about the new pitcher in a moment. Mendoza delivered a sacrifice fly. And then Vanderbilt answered in the bottom of the 8th against closer Sam Cozart with a Rustin Rigdon double down the line. And here we are, locked at 3 in the 9th inning, and Vanderbilt right back to the bullpen.
Yeah, back to Luke Guth that we saw last night with 2 1/3. Very strong innings for Vandy. Gave up just 1 hit, didn't walk anybody, struck out 4, did throw 36 pitches. Let's see if this is a spot that they just went Guth to get him out of the night, see if they can win it, or if they go to extras, if he would potentially go more. He'll face Casey Borba, who came on as a pinch hitter his last time up.
And when they faced last night, Guth struck out Borba with a runner on in the 4th. Borba trying to fight his way out of an SEC slump over the last couple of weekends. Base is empty, 1 down in the 9th. Double-digit home runs for Borba. Texas put the leadoff man on just once in this game. That was Robbins in the 8th. And he, of course, came around to score. Shift is on for Pull Happy Borba. Hey, he's not seeing the ball well. There's a little hesitation at the plate for Borba. He's really fighting it.
This at bat or before?
Both.
Yeah, I mean, this at bat, he hadn't seen a strike, but yeah, slumps are crazy things because you can come out of them as quick as you can go into it. 4-pitch walks don't hurt.
Yeah, now Jaden Duplantier. Walk, a single, and a fielder's choice for the Texas right fielder today. Guth gets a strike to start him off. Borba not going anywhere, and the bunt's fouled back.
Thought it was a take the first pitch, but that time they put the bunt back on. Watch the barrel drop on this too. You got no chance to get that one down when that barrel drops down below your hands.
Swing and a miss for strike 3.
That's a rough at bat. Go up there, can't get the bunt down twice, then swinging a slider down and out of the zone, and it'll turn the lineup over and out of the top of this Texas order, which does so much of its damage.
Robbins 4th in the league with 17 home runs. And there seems to be a confidence late in games here in this ballpark for this Vanderbilt program. 7 of their last 15 SEC wins have come in walk-off fashion here. To the Robbins. Low. And the 1-2. Spiked it.
Yeah, slider heavy. All sliders in this at bat. You got Robbins to chase one earlier in that bat. You better be careful with that one if that catches too much of the zone, because now he's seen it a ton.
And he chased the slider. They'll have to put the tag on to finish the frame. Back-to-back Ks for Guth. And Vandy trying to lean on its magic. They lead the SEC with 4 walk-off wins on the season, including all 3 against Tennessee. 9-1 and 2 up. Due up for the Vandy boys. 7 of the last 15 conference home games have been walk-off winners for the Commodores. Texas closer Sam Cozart on the mound. 9-hole hitter Will Hampton to start. And a first pitch strike. Nothing in 2. Hampton 1 for 3 today, making just his 5th start of the season for Vanderbilt.
Approach right there. You get 2 straight curveballs to start the at-bat. That took a cutter down and in. That time got another curveball on the ball that he could handle, fouled it off. An inning that could decide Vanderbilt's postseason hopes. Cozart's 1-2. Pretty good fight from Hampton right here, who hasn't had that many opportunities. This just his 21st official at bat of the year.
Off speed, stays upstairs. Was that the split?
Yeah, that was the split.
Here's the 9th pitch of the plate appearance. And he got him with it.
Well, he saw everything in that at bat. Curveballs to start, a couple fastballs he fouled off, the split that he took, and this looks like a cutter that is moving in on his hands a little bit right there, and enough to get it off the bat.
And so here's the real challenge now for Sam Cozart, top of the order. Texas has K'd 11 today, including 2 strikeouts of Mike Mancini, who is 0 for 3 with a walk. Becerra playing in at third. And Mancini got underneath this one and yanks it onto the street. Two strikes. He'll flip Becerra to the right side, put the shift on. Pulled to the right side, smothering stop, and a flip over to the bag, and the shift pays off for Texas.
That's well done right there by Ethan Mendoza, playing deep enough so he's got a little bit more time. He almost threw it too early. Casey Borba, the first baseman, broke that way and then This ball's on the way before Borby even turns around, but threw it in the right spot. Didn't have to rip it over there to get the out. That's stealing what looked to be a hit off the bat.
Here's Brody Johnston. Brody Johnston had a couple of walk-offs last year. This came against Kentucky. That was immediately prior to the Alabama series, where Holcomb had a walk-off home run as well, and Holcomb sitting on deck. That's where the magic started for Vandy last year. Highlighted by the #1 overall seed. Little flare, left field, and over Rodriguez. So Vanderbilt's still alive here in the 9th inning.
Keep that barrel in the zone long enough and good things can happen. Brody Johnston is absolutely fooled on this one. It's a breaking ball that's out away from him, but that lower half just get in it long enough that he can extend that barrel, get a piece of it, flip it over Rodriguez's head to keep the 9th inning going.
Holcomb 1 for 4 today. Sunday game against Alabama last season. 2-run walk-off home run for Braden Holcomb in a 9-7 victory. Capped it 1-1. What's he get 2-1?
He hasn't thrown a lot of fastballs since he's come in. You got to dial up for 94, 95, which Cozart has. But this entire at bat, it's been a couple breaking balls and a split.
Two 2-1 to Holcomb. Miss low. Want to throw him a fastball. Cozart's allowed 3 home runs in this season, most recently April 3rd at South Carolina. And muscled over the second baseman's head. Headed for third is Johnston. And a couple of duck snorts for Vandy. Two out singles.
This is a really good read by Brody Johnston at first base, because it's hit directly at the center fielder Aiden Robbins, who has a plus arm. But they're playing so deep to respect for the power of Holcomb. There's just a peek right there from Johnston. This is all his decision to see whether or not he wants to go. But with the depth of Robbins, and this is something you look at before the play, not hit that hard, takes a chance, goes first to third. Now Vandy 90 feet away from another walk-off.
This is Colin Barzy. Max Weiner will head to the mound. Remember that Tennessee series? They had a walk-off grand slam, a walk-off single, and a walk-off squeeze play. It's been an all-or-nothing season for Colin Barzy, who's had 7 home runs That includes a pair of 3 home run games. Had to battle back from a shoulder injury and a slide at the plate against Eastern Michigan early this year. The defensive indifference allows Holcomb to head to second. One out to Bardsey. Well, behind the left field wall sits Memorial Gymnasium, and due to late game miracles there, it's been come to known as Memorial Magic, and they have bottled it up here at Hawkins Field and carried it over to baseball season. Can Bardsey deliver? Tinney waved that one into the strike zone, 1-2.
Yeah, he's done that a couple times today. That pitch at the lower part of the zone, he does such a great job of making it look maybe a little bit better than it is.
1-2 to Bardsey. Lynch didn't go. Bardsey's 0 for 3 today. 2-2 from Cozart. Out of play.
Tinney doesn't tip very much, but he tipped fastball right there. By as far as he was moving out and where the glove was, and then he moved back in. He stays pretty stationary behind home plate, but it felt like he was really trying to force Cozart to throw that fastball away.
Breaking ball, fly ball, left field. And Robbins fighting the sun. It'll be Pack instead, directed towards the catch, and Vandy strands a pair in the 9th inning. 4 left on in the last 2 frames for Vandy. Heart of the order coming up for the Longhorns. Finale of this 3-game series. Texas took game 1. Vandy bounced back with a shutout to win game number 2. And the heaviness of this series evident in the pitching moves that Tim Corbin has made as he goes back to Tyler Baird, the freshman from Huntersville, North Carolina, had a heavy workload yesterday.
Yeah, and he's turned into one of the most reliable relievers, but he's doing something that he hasn't done in his collegiate career, and that's go back-to-back days. So Baird yesterday, 49 pitches, pitched the last 3 innings, 2 hits, didn't walk anybody, struck out 4, but now on at this point trying to keep it scoreless and see if Vandy can win it in the 10th.
They'll face Tinney, Pack, and Rodriguez. And yesterday, or last night, I should say, when he faced his trio, he hit Tinney, allowed a single to Pack, and then got Rodriguez to line into a double play. Carson Tinney is 0 for 4. Two and 0. Baird threw games 1 and 3 at Kentucky, games 1 and 3 against Oklahoma. And those are the only 2 times he's appeared twice in the same weekend, let alone back-to-back.
Tinney doing something he doesn't do often. That's expanding a plus count. 2-0. Fastball from Baird has really good arm side run, and that one he swung at ball 3.
Just 5 hits for the Longhorns today, reminiscent of their offensive struggles in the 3rd game against Alabama last weekend. That was a 1-run loss, and Tinney gets hit by the
same
pitch.
thing as yesterday.
Did he go? They say he didn't in the Vandy crowd, and Scott Brown and Tim Corbin said that was a swing.
I think they got a pretty good argument here too. We saw this yesterday from Tinney. He opened up, that ball hit him in the rib. Okay, so I'm going to ask a question that I don't know the answer to. I think I do know the answer to it. The bat went all the way around, but it already hit him. So at that point, the minute that he hits him, the ball's dead. Accurate, so the swing technically stops right there.
That's a good question.
Because if that should be the rule. If that's the case, then it's no swing. Just watch where the ball makes impact and where the bat is. So the bat is definitely moving. He has not gone around at that point. Ball hit him. Then as he continues, the bat goes far enough that you can make an argument that he swung. My contention is the minute the ball hits you, the ball's dead.
I think a swing's a swing, and they're going to get together and talk about it. I think that was just this is what happened to him last night. It was ruled not a swing and a hit by pitch. I think it was just a missed call by
we got
Richard Riley down the first base line.
Vanderbilt's challenging hit by pitch.
And so the challenge is the hit by pitch. There's no question on that.
Well, you can't challenge a check swing. So the only thing that they can challenge here, and maybe you're thinking that replay booth goes back and says it's actually, you cannot challenge a check swing. You can challenge it hit by pitch. I think the challenge would be, did it hit the knob of the bat or did it hit his hand?
I didn't even think about the knob the first time, but you slow it down.
After replay, hit by pitch, first base.
So Tinney reaches on a hit by pitch to start the frame. And it brings Anthony Pack Jr. to the plate. Pack has a double and a run scored. That one eludes Reynolds. Tinney will jog to second. Do you bunt here?
Well, he hadn't done it all year. Anthony Pack Jr. does not have a sack bunt the entire season. I don't think they do, no. Texas as a team has only done it 11 times.
Vandy defending against it, with Jensen creeping in at first. Two and 0. You gotta wonder if Tyler Baird is up against it mentally by having back-to-back appearances for the first time in his college career. A hit by pitch now behind 3-0 to Pack. Vanderbilt pitching staff was sensational last night, throwing a 5-hit shutout with 14 strikeouts. Baird was a huge part of that, and he misses to Pack, and Texas has 2 on with nobody out.
And again, 49 pitches last night. First time that Baird has gone back-to-back. It may be the first time he's gone back-to-back since he was in Little League, if he ever did it then. A lot of times, if that's the case, if you're just a little bit tired, velocity may not change much, but control does.
And does it also depend on what your repertoire is?
Yeah, but I would also point to the misses with the fastball, and they've been in different spots. I mean, it was the arm side miss that hit Tinney. That time tugged it down and in. So as the misses get bigger is when, yeah, that's why Tim Corbin's coming out. If he's just missing, that's one thing, but they're fairly significant misses on the fastball.
So Vanderbilt will end this Baird experiment after a hit by pitch and a walk, and they'll go to the side armor out of the bullpen. Tell you about the new pitcher after this. Team. Meanwhile, Texas in position to be a top 8 national seed, number 3 RPI, 11 wins against a top 25, and a projected 1 seed, which mean home games at Dish Falk Field in Austin in the postseason. Jacob Faulkner takes over for Vanderbilt, senior from Venice, Florida. Submarine pitcher, 2-0 with a 5.79 ERA.
A little different look right here, and what you'll get with guys that throw from that angle, especially if it's fastballs, you do get a fair amount more ground balls. Now, we'll see if they decide to do anything with Rodriguez here. He does have 1 sack bunt this year, but you got first and second, nobody out. At least if you bunt, if you're Texas, it keeps you out of the double play.
And Vandy has turned 2 of those today. Texas has stranded 5 base runners the last 3 innings. And a first pitch strike to Adrian Rodriguez.
Yeah, it doesn't offer it to bunt, but you can see at first base Max Jensen sneaking in. This is where if they are going to bunt, and he didn't show the first time, you want it down the third base line. Force that third baseman to vacate and come make the play.
Johnston even with the bag right now. Rodriguez doubled home a run for Texas back in the 4th. Their first run of the game. Fastball for Faulkner will sit in the mid-80s.
That was a healthy hack.
Tinian Pack aboard. Rigdon. 1 down.
Now batting the second baseman, number 5, Ethan Mendoza.
And Ethan Mendoza is 1 for 3 tonight. He was hit by a pitch his first time up. And a couple of fly balls. One was good for a sac fly back in the 8th to give Texas its first lead. Its only lead. Slider fouled off. Right-handers hitting only 136 against Jacob Faulkner's slider.
Well, he's going to see it here.
Yeah. Faulkner, the 8th pitcher of the game for Vanderbilt. Threw him a fastball in shallow right field, but catch made. No advance for either Tinney or Pack behind him.
Well, 2 pretty good pitches for Jacob Faulkner to get the last 2 batters out. Just lazy fly balls to the outfield. Doesn't give the base runners a chance to advance in either one.
Second plate appearance of the game for Callum Early. Grounded out to end the 8th. And time called before the pitch. And a pitch clock violation. 1-0 the count. And hit him. Early grazed with the fastball. Second hit batter of the inning for the Vanderbilt pitching staff, and the bases are loaded for Texas.
You won't see a guy from that arm angle hit a left-hander with a fastball very often, and generally they're trying to work arm side, run it away. But Early just climbing all on top of it. I mean, that was close to crossing the plate. It wasn't going to be a strike, but any way that Early can get on, he was trying. Now they've got him loaded.
And this is Temel Becerra, 0 for 3 today. Reynolds had to reach for the slider. Becerra 2 for 7 with the bases loaded this year.
Let's see if Jim Schlafsnagel's turning Becerra loose right here. 2-0 count with the bases loaded.
Three and 0.
He is definitely not turning him loose here. Taking at least one here.
See if Faulkner can land a fastball. He can't. There's a 4-pitch walk to force in the go-ahead run.
And these have been the challenges and the woes of this Vandy staff this year. Texas just took the lead here in the 10th inning without a hit. 2 walks, 2 hit batsmen. And that one forces in the run to make it 4-3 Horns.
Scott Brown motivating his reliever.
Yeah, that's a challenge trip to the mound right there. Like, if you're going to miss over the plate, but I don't want you to show me that you want to be out here.
Here's Casey Borba. Drew a walk last time up, hit by a pitch prior to that. Started this game on the bench for Texas. Jim Schlossnagle saying we just need to give him a break, give him a little reset. He takes a slider for strike 1. And misses with the slider. Anthony Pack Jr. was walked after Tinney was hit by a pitch. He's now at third after the hit by pitch of Early. And Temel Becerra through the bases loaded walk to give Texas the lead. Slider away. Nothing but so far. 2-1. Now 3-1.
Yeah, that was closer than Reynolds made that look. When he goes down to one knee, you got no chance to steal a strike on that.
Slider in the zone or out of the zone?
Just strike.
And the fastball in there, 3-2. Bases loaded for Casey Borba, the payoff pitch here in the 10th. Swing and a miss. Faulkner got him to leave the bases loaded, but not before Texas pushed one across on a bases loaded walk. Gooden, Rigdon, and Waite due up for Vanderbilt. Tennessee and Vanderbilt, finale of this 3-game series. And extra innings to determine it. Tim Corbin's team trying to play its way further into the at-large conversation. 7 of the last 15 here at home have been walk-off winners. Max Jensen at the plate. His first plate appearance after entering as a defensive replacement. .267 and a home run for Jensen.
Cozart not messing around here. 2 straight fastballs to get ahead 0-2. Now he can go to that slow curveball. He can try to run the split down. Just stay with the elevated fastball.
And how about 95 right past him for strike 3?
And you got to know, of anybody in that Texas dugout, he was as excited as anybody else when they scored that run, because now he's got to go get a chance to go out there and close this out. Obviously, if it would be a win, it wouldn't be a save. But for a kid that has been so important to him out of the bullpen this year, to get a win on the back end of a blown save allows you to leave here feeling really good.
Rustin Rignan at the plate. Again, a heavy workload for Cozart, who entered in the 8th inning, and he's approaching the 50 pitch mark. His second appearance this weekend. Three and one. An oops swing and a tough play at second, and he's safe. Rustin Rignan beats it out on a check swing bouncer to second.
That's a good job just putting your head down and running right there, because obviously he didn't want to go. The hands start, but the barrel goes far enough. The minute that it gets past Cozart, it gets a lot tougher because you're playing deep on the infield, even if it's turf. Just doesn't get there in time, and the speed of Rignan enough to beat it out for an infield single.
There's Riker Waite, corners in for Texas. He's swinging.
Give up on that split. And he throws a split up. I don't know if it's intentional, but the split is up a little bit more, and it just floats in there to steal strike 2.
Left side wide open. There it is again, 1-2. Third straight?
No. I think that was a cutter.
Riker waiting his 7th spot in his batting order for Vanderbilt. The top home run hitting teams in college baseball. He fights it off.
He's had a few at-bats like this today where he's fought a bunch off. Hit by a pitch and walked today. One of those he fouled off 3 or 4 to draw that walk.
Hit him, and Vandy's got the winning run aboard.
It's been a little uncharacteristic for Cozart today. He's walked a few. He hits one right there. His control has been one of the calling cards this year. Getting stretched out today. Went 2 innings in the opener through just 25 pitches, but now out there for his 3rd inning, and Vandy has 2 on.
Most pitches out of the bullpen this season for Cozart. Previous high came as a starter on March 10th at Texas State when he threw 74. So Corbin Reynolds will get a chat from Jason Esposito with 2 on and 1 out. Reynolds was hit by a pitch and came around to score in the 3rd. Since then, strikeout, fly out, line out.
They balked him. Yeah.
Wow.
It's the right move.
And the tying run will be 90 feet away. The winning run right behind him.
There's just enough of a move right there. And a lot of times when you used to take signs instead of listen to signs, it's because you were expecting something, didn't get it. You started to move to your set position. You can see that movement right back where he was moving to go set. The argument could be that he swings his arm back and forth from Jim Schlossnagle, and I understand trying to make it here, but that clearly was a move where he was moving to a set position and then stopped.
First base is open. Texas middle of the pack in the SEC in double plays. You put him on. Pitch to Hampton.
No.
Just invites getting back to Mancini at the top of the order.
That's the reason.
Reynolds hitless today. 4 walk-off winners for Vanderbilt this season, most in the SEC. Nothing in 2.
It's that slow curveball. You look at the stuff profile for Cozart, and you see fastball that's up to 96, and you think that's what you need to get ready for. But he's thrown probably 70% off speed today, if not more.
A lot of those off-speed pitches, to your point, up. Fastball missed. Bat lost. 2 down.
Wow, this is the first fastball in the at-bat. Came back, it's at 92, so I mean it's down a few ticks from what you see from Cozart. But when the previous pitches have been 76, 77 miles an hour, that's another 15 that jumps on you pretty quick and gets the strikeout of Corbin Williams.
Vandy left 8 men on over the last 4 innings, 4 out of the last 5 innings of regulation. In danger of doing it here in the 10th. And Hampton looks at the breaking ball for a strike. 2 stranded in the 5th, 2 in the 6th, 2 in the 8th and 9th. And 2 on for Vanderbilt here in the 10th. Cozart's 0-1. Just off. .61 pitches for Cozart. A strike away from finishing this one off.
Hampton definitely sitting off speed right there. Was way late on that 1-1 fastball. That could be part of the discussion. Max Wiener out of the bullpen checking just to make sure that he's fine on visits and doesn't have to make a change. This is probably a Cozart discussion to say, okay, what are you thinking? This is what I saw. Fastball he was way late on. We can elevate fastball. You can try to slow the bat down out of the zone. There's no reason to throw a strike 1-2. There's all the confidence in the world in Tinney to block it up.
62 pitches for Cozart. Ethan Walker has been throwing in the Texas pen. He's on the left side. Get to the top of the order, and lefty Mancini looks like that's where they will go. But Vanderbilt down to its last strike. Meeting on the mound has concluded. A ball and 2 strikes to Will Hampton. Game on the line for Vanderbilt. Cozart trying to close it out. Got him swinging, and Texas survives on a tip into the mid of Carson Tinney. And Cozart with a blown save, but he comes back with 3 strikeouts and walks a high wire act in the 10th to get the win.
Well, that one had a little bit of everything, and at the end it was just enough Texas. Again, the run that scores was on 0 hits in the 10th inning. 2-hit batsman, 2 walks, ends up enough. Texas just holds off, and Vandy leaves them at 2nd and 3rd to lose the series. They'll go on the road next weekend to Alabama.
And it feels like a missed opportunity for Vanderbilt after leading this game 2-0. Texas takes the finale, and Texas takes the series with the 4-3 victory. Jim Schlossnagle relieved with his closer Cozart. For Kyle Peterson, our fantastic crew, including Bill Palladino producing and Johnny Hanna directing, I'm Tom Hart. Enjoy the rest of your sports weekend. Texas, 4th team in the country, comes away with a series win and a huge one on the road at Vanderbilt.